back to Straight Facts. I'm joined by Lee Gunner. Loads to talk about today. We're looking at Chelsea. We're looking at Liverpool. We're looking, of course, at Lee's reaction to the North London derby, as we haven't gathered that yet, as it were. We're looking ahead at the Carabao Cup games as well. Plus, any questions, any talking points, any opinions you, the audience, want us to discuss. Lee, how are you, my friend? You well? You good?
I'm very well, man. I'm very good. My football team, mate. I don't know if you're still scared, but you know, they look scary. I don't know if you've exposed me for my fan cam or anything like that. Gonna Arsenal hate continues, and
your hate has kind of morphed more onto Man United recently than it's been towards Arsenal.
I see your video. I know you're. I didn't. Do you know what? We'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, because you'll probably walk off.
No, I don't think I will. It's just I find some stuff you listen. I've always said it this way, and I mean this as a compliment. I take you as a bit of a pantomime at times, not with everything you say, but I mean sometimes I just think people misinterpret some of the things you say as you being 100% serious. When I think there's the element of joking or jovialness to it, or you being a bit sarcastic. Not everything you say, but certain things, and I just like joining in with that. So yeah, there's lots to talk about. Look, let's talk about today. And I know we mentioned Man United. Maybe the first talking point is we're back, smashed up Burnley. Bruno Fernandes with one of the best goals you'll see this season. United flying high. Be sarcasm, people. Sarcasm.
Yeah, sarcasm was lost on thick people, Terry. Yeah, like that's what it is, isn't it? Like you have to when it's written text on tweets or Insta posts or Facebook pages and stuff like that. If it's written, most people don't get the sarcasm level unless you put a laughing emoji. And even then, they still don't get it. Yeah, but when you're saying it with a straight face like you just did, that's still gone over people's heads.
Yeah, mate. The amount of sarcastic things I say, and I hear people like a month later, you said this last month. So, you didn't pick up that was sarcasm. Wow.
And then they're like, no, you're just deflecting. You're a flip-flop.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But
I haven't seen a title from you for a while. League on the flip-flops hard, though. I can't lie.
Because you haven't really flip-flopped for a while, to be fair. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But yeah, listen.
As for United, I did a watch on my other channel. Oh, my days. How I was still awake in that game was only down to my chat. Yeah, big up my chat. Yeah, because that game was shocking. Like, that was one of the worst games of football I've seen for a long time. And can I just say as well, right? Everyone talks about manager having drip. Yeah. Vincent Kompany, let me just tell you right now, bro. And I'm not a fashion guru or icon, yeah? But bro, baseball cap with a suit and a t-shirt, yeah, with trainers is not the one, bro.
The Vincent Kompany, I think there's a very good manager in there. There was a world-class player, but he dresses, when you go on school trips, school field days, as the Americans would call it, and you had that teacher that tried to dress like he was cool, but he wasn't. Like, he dresses like a substitute teacher. It's like the hat with the suit. I don't get it, and it's not even a good hat.
I've never got the whole suit with trainers and a t-shirt. I've never understood that. Like, it don't look good. Like, suits are hard to pull off anyway. Like, without wearing a t-shirt and a baseball cap and trainers with him. Like, I mean, come on. But anyway, listen, that's irrelevant to the performance. Yeah, I actually think they should have won the game. I thought they were the better team. Great goal, fantastic goal, great pass from Johnny Evans. And fantastic finish from Bruno. Johnny
Zidane, I'm calling him this week, just because of that pass, just for a week, just for that pass.
So easily, so easily, please. This is why the Glazers are still there, and you lot are holding your Norwich scarves up in the stadium.
Yeah. That's it.
But no, fantastic goal. But it was the only real bit of quality you did all game. I don't think you just like. I don't know what it is. It's hard to describe Man United because there's no style, there's no pattern of play. Everyone looks lost and confused. Everyone looks like they're just going through the motions. They're all looking around at each other like, well, you do it. Oh, well, you can't. Okay, you do it then. Oh, I'll have a go. And it's like, Burnley had a little bit more quality in the final third. They would have won that game comfortably 3 or 4. Yeah, because they got in some really good areas, but they just couldn't.
In the first half, they certainly. Second half, we stopped them. They had one header from, I think, a corner that went over. But with second half, we nullified them to pretty much nothing. But no, I'd agree. And it was a very hard game for me to stay awake. And I've been to my brother's wedding that day. It wasn't a massive do because it was his second wedding to the same woman. after being divorced. So I left that because yeah, it was a good day. It was good. It was kind of weird because obviously they get like when I don't know if people have been through this, but you meet a whole new family when one of your brothers or sisters marries somebody. So you got to know them all on stag do's and at the wedding and the kids things, and then they divorce, so it kind of separates. And then it was like, wow, it was like meeting them again for the second time. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I got back and I was tanked up. I was proper tanked up.
Well, that doesn't take much, to be fair. You're a lightweight.
Bro. I was like 7. I was 6.
Remember when we went to the O2? Yeah, you had a couple of pints. You were gone, mate.
Nah. I was fine. I'm one of those people. I admit I'm not like one of these people that can do 10 pints and still function. But equally, I don't sniff it and fall. I don't have a pack of wine gums and pass. I was like 6 or 7 Guinnesses in, 3 or 4 glasses of champagne, but I was tanked up. But staying awake, you know, like when you start to like get that same day hangover, like I just want to sleep. I was trying to stay awake throughout the game. Then I did an hour stream afterwards, and by the end of the stream, I was like, I've got to go because I'm done. But yeah, it was a hard game to watch. But what was nice about it, result-wise, it was really great watching all the other games Sunday, knowing that we'd already won that weekend. Because it was a month. It was a month between our wins, and I'm hoping there's a bit more of a. That I'm looking forward to the next few weeks. It's really when I'm going to start judging this team this year, when a lot of his signings are back fit and playing in the team together. I think that's. I'm trying to be just true to myself in this. Like, there's so many games where we haven't seen the people he's purchased and all the people he's kind of promoted or given new deals to kind of play as a unit. Because if he's starting games with Amrabat and Mount, Lissandro, his goalkeeper, Højlund, etc., and 2, 3, 4 games into that, there is still no improvement, then I think there's something to really start getting worried about, because you're looking at a starting 11, which is 80, 90% that managers. So you should start to see something come together. So listen, I have my concerns still for this season. I'm not happy with our start, but look, happy with the win, because a month without winning a game, just from a fan point of view, is awful indeed. League Cup game tonight against Palace. There'll be a decent amount of rotation. But I'm also excited because I think we'll see the Amrabats for the first time, Mount back in the team. Yeah. Well, again, I mean, that's funny though. He's got as many victories in the Premier League now as 120 million pound Enzo Fernandez. So he ain't doing too bad. But yeah,
throw that shade, tell.
Wait, listen, I didn't mind him coming on at left. I mean, we're just mad that Reguilón picked up a little injury. I don't think it's too bad.
I think he's actually been your best player.
He looks right.
He was good at Tottenham. I don't know why Tottenham fans were so aggy against him, because he's not great. He's not like world beater, but he's consistent. He's like a Nacho Monreal, 7 out of 10 every week. Yeah, very rarely goes to an 8 or a 9. Very rarely goes to a 5 or a 6. But when he was at Tottenham, I thought he'd done all right. I don't know why they were so on him, mate.
Do you know what's funny about it, right? Is he was a player that I wanted us to get when Spurs got him. I was absolutely gutted that they signed him. The strangest thing about Reguilón is that I didn't realize he was still at Tottenham when we tried to loan him. I thought he'd been sold because he's a player whose name just sort of disappeared from football. But yeah, he has been good since he's come in. Again, I'll praise that and say well done. I'm not getting too carried away like some Reds, because it could just be the exuberance and excitement and adrenaline of starting at a new club. He might level out, but it's not just been what he's done on the ball. Even some of his crosses, they haven't led to anything. But if we had players actually busting the gut to get in the box or in the right positions, there could have been some really easy tap-ins for people. But it's been his work rate overall that I've enjoyed, because I still think our biggest issue at Man United is our off-the-ball work rate, getting back into position, working hard to have a good shape out of possession. And I actually think that's impacting how we play football. There's almost like a nervousness to go forward and be expansive, because we're worried about what happens when we lose the ball because we don't get back into shape. And it becomes a bit of a domino effect. So that's why I'm excited about the Mounts and the Amrabats coming back. Not because I'm deluded into thinking when those guys come back, we're cooking, we're going to be amazing. It's more of a hope than anything else. It's more, I'm excited to see what could be produced, because the manager's gone out. Listen, there's lots of things I'll defend the manager on. But if he's starting lineup's got Onana, Lissandro, in it. Varane, I would put down as one of these players because he hasn't looked to replace him directly. Obviously, Casemiro starting, Amrabat, Mount, Rashford and Bruno are his players. Højlund would be his player. Yeah, we're starting a game with 8. eight or nine of his 8 or 9 of his players that he 100% wants at this club. They're not just stopgaps or little loan deals, although Amrabat's a loan, but it's a loan with an option to buy.
I only found that out as well, by the way. I only found that out last week that he was a loan. I thought you actually purchased him.
Yeah, no, mate, and this is the thing. This is where there is a part of me that says to people, like, I'll criticize the manager for certain things. When it comes to the execution and how quickly we got him in, it was delayed all summer because we couldn't sell people to raise the money. And in the end, they gave the manager a player that he wanted to. And you could argue, get Mount, don't get Mount first, get Amrabat first. I understand that. But he's still being told, listen, we'll get really sales through. We'll get him in really early. We'll get him in for pre-season for you. And it was basically deadline day, they get it done. That element, I'm always looking at the board and the people that execute the sales and the purchases, because they're scrimping and they're scraping and they're penny pinching and they cost us in those areas. And a club our size with our turnover should not be doing a loan deal like that on the final day of the transfer window for a player, by the way, that the manager 100% wanted. This wasn't, again, and this is where a lot of the leak stories come out from. The recruitment team internally are angry that their recommendation wasn't selected over the manager's. So I will put pressure on the manager if Amrabat doesn't work because it's his signing. But it's a separate conversation when I look at all these leaks coming out. And I'm like, these men in the recruitment team are only leaking information because they're fearful of their job. They're almost trying to make it look like a negative thing with signing players for the manager, because they know that if his signings work, they're out of a bloody job because the manager keeps recommending completely different. These guys wanted us to sign Arnautovic and Rabiot and Pau Torres. And I'm not saying we have signed world-class talent, but we've definitely, in my opinion, signed better players than that.
Torres is all right. He's all right.
Yeah, maybe. But he's not better. That was last year, though. He's not better than Lisandro Martinez or Varane, in my opinion. So I think that...
No, definitely not. But listen, we ain't seen a big sample size of Pau Torres in the Premier League to have that opinion compared to Lisandro.
No, that's true. That's true. And
because we've seen... We've seen his whole career, really, haven't we?
No, I agree.
We don't watch Dutch league football. Yeah, most people won't watch La Liga. Pau Torres is half decent. I'm not saying he's better than Lisandro, but he's a good player, man. He's a good player.
He's decent. He's decent. We'll see. Bertie here says no team will ever be 100% fit. Now, Bertie, I understand that. And again, this is where we start going to polarizing sort of depths of opinion. I'm not saying that there'll ever be a team that's 100% fit. But we've had injuries at the club at the beginning of this season where 50 to 60% of what would be our strongest starting 11 and majority of the players that the manager signed have not been available for one reason or another. The remainder of that squad, the backup, are not players the manager has signed and will look to. And 3 or 4 of them that have been starting are players he wants out, but the club couldn't find the club couldn't find buyers for, or they didn't accept bids. So it takes time to clear out that junk. In another year or two, if the manager's still here and it's all his squad from top to bottom, then it becomes less of an excuse. And I just feel that's why you have to review these situations independently. You can't just use a blanket approach for every club and every moment. Again, if Ten Hag had inherited a team that was already winning and already brilliant, he would have less leeway from me. If he inherited a squad that we all universally agree was very good, like the guy that takes, say Pep leaves this summer and the guy comes in and doesn't start well, no one's going to sit there and say, yeah, but he needs 3 years to build his squad. It's a squad that's just done a fucking treble. Like, it's good. So I do think you have to look at it from that point of view, Bertie.
Depends how good the PR is.
The truth. Terry, are you still crying about Romero's handball versus United?
Jeez, stick it on him, Spurs King. Tell him.
Well, it's not so much crying. It's calling for consistency in decisions. Did you see the footage of Dermot Gallagher being asked about it?
No, I've not seen it.
Hey, so I said it in my, listen, people say I'm biased when I do my reaction videos. Sky asked the question. And I was very proud of this question for, as a paying person of Sky. They were like, so a lot of people are asking for you to describe the difference to us between the handball Arsenal got versus Tottenham and the handball Man United didn't get. And his answer, and I'm kind of paraphrasing it slightly, was, well, when VAR checks it, it normally means, well, yeah, I mean, the arm was up, it was on target, and, I just think one was and the other one wasn't. That was his explanation. He didn't explain the difference, which tells you they're either both not handballs or they're both handballs.
I'll tell you what the difference was. Number one, the one Man United against Tottenham, was on the edge of the box, inside the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was on the 18-yard line, just inside, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a nailed-on goal, yeah? And it was fired at him, yeah, whilst the player's standing with his arms in an unnatural position. His arms are up here, yeah? Right? But he's 18 yards out. With the one at the weekend, Romero's on the floor with one arm up here from 6-7 yards out, 5 yards out, whatever it is. If his arm's down here, it's in the back of the net. That's the difference.
So I understand that. However, it being on target doesn't make it a handball or not a handball, because the both players were about the same proximity away. They both shot on goal, and Romero did the same thing in both examples. It was kind of like an attempt to block the ball. His arms went up in the same way. It was the opposite arms, but the arms went up in the same way and actually hit him in the same part of the arm, just on opposite sides. So, yeah, listen, I understand.
The only 2 yards away from him on the edge of the 18-yard box with his arms in an unnatural position, fired at 100 mile an hour. Your arm shouldn't be here. But then should be down here.
Hang on, but beIN Sports showed the replays. Your shot was hit 10 miles an hour faster, and from a further and from near. So your shot was faster, and the proximity was about a yard closer. So as with the slower shot from further away, arms in the same position.
It was going in.
But that doesn't make it handball.
If Romero's arm's not up here and it's down here where it should be, because he was actually on his knee and his arm's up here, and his arm was his arm was stretched out in front of him up here. Like that.
So does it have
his
to
arms down is in the back of the net. That's the difference.
So it's only handball if it's on target.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if you're 6 yards out, 5 yards out, you're on your knee, which Romero was, and your arms out up here. If your arm's down, it's in the back of the net. Ben White scores. With the one against Man United, it's fired at him. Cool, 10 mile an hour less, but he's standing up. Regardless of whether it's on target or not on target, he's standing up. Yeah, it's not a clear and obvious penalty. It's not a clear and obvious penalty for me. You've seen him given, you see him don't give him. Cool, it's subjective. Whereas the Ben White one at the weekend with Romero, if he don't have his hand up here, it's in the back of the net. You've stopped a goal. That's a clear and obvious penalty. Yeah, because you have stopped a goal. With the one with the Man United game, it's not a clear and obvious penalty.
If you stop a goal,
be given, and it probably should be.
If you stop a goal with your hand, but if your hand was not in an unnatural position, it wouldn't be a handball. If you were on the line, but your hand was by your side, and someone shoots a ball from the same distance and it hits your hand by your side, and it stops the ball from going in, it wouldn't be given because your arm's in a natural position. It should always be about, is your arm in and what I find defenders are now doing more, and they're smart with this, by the way, is they're throwing themselves at balls, but they're allowing their arms to go up. If it goes above their head, they know they're going to get a penalty. But what they're getting away with is when their arms are out by their side at this kind of angle, like this, but they're making their body bigger. And I understand you can argue it's a natural part of your body when you're throwing yourselves out, but they're being smart in how they do it because you're seeing more and more of these handballs. The strange thing is that only some of them are being given, and I think that's more my issue. You either give all of them.
It's subjective. Now, with offside, it's offside or it ain't. Goal line technology is a goal or it ain't. It's cross the line or it ain't. With penalties, with stuff like that, it's subjective. Yeah, you might see that Man United one as a pen. Somebody in the chat might not. So it's subjective on the day that referee and that VAR team might say that.
So I understand that completely. I get that. However, I would expect somebody.
I do think they're both penalties, though. I can't lie.
Yes, they are both penalties. But my expectation would be, I would expect a professional referee to be able to candidly, concisely, and in layman's terms, make it very clear and obvious to us what the difference is between those two decisions, so that what happens in future is that we're not debating this because we understand the difference. The fact that referees cannot explain it, they are meant to be the expert of experts, tells you there's a problem with the rule. And I think Einstein said this, that if you can't explain something in basic layman's simple terms, you don't understand it enough. And if referees and ex-referees don't understand the rules where they can explain it basically, it's a fucking shit rule. It means it's too ambiguous. It means it's too cloudy, and it's going to cause these problems. But maybe, just maybe, that's what football wants because it creates debate.
Look at the one that Man United got against PSG a few seasons back. Yeah, where Kimpembe's turned his back and it hit his hand. Well, on that basis alone, the Man United Tottenham one's a penalty, isn't it?
So what's interesting is that UEFA had that rule. And again, when you get the penalties in your score, you celebrate. But I remember doing a match reaction at the time and saying these penalties that you get in the chat, like the one that Christian Eriksen conceded the other day. This is the thing about the arm. Is it natural or not natural? So for me, if you're jumping and twisting at the same time in the air, your arms don't stay by your side. They come up and they move for balance. He had no idea about it. Hits his hand. Penalty
I think
given.
that's a penalty. I think that's a penalty. But this is the thing. All they need to do is just make it like black or white. If it hits your hand,
again,
if it comes off of your foot, your knee, deflection onto your hand, then no. Yeah, so like Gabriel Magalhaes last season against Liverpool, it come off his chest and then bounced onto his hand. Not a penalty. Cool. Everyone knows that. So if it bounces off another body part, hits your hand, it's not a pen, right? But then that's subjective as well. Because if you look at the Romero one, that could have bounced off of his studs, his knee. It could have gone in.
Look at the one that...
If it hits your hand, it's a pen. That's all you got to say.
Look at the one that Sandro Martinez conceded last year in the Europa League. Brilliant block. Hits his leg. Hits his lower leg, hits his thigh, then it's his elbow, which is tucked in by his chest, and they gave a fucking.
That shouldn't have been a penalty based on the rules that they were saying last season.
No, exactly. And that's
UEFA have different rules.
Yeah, again, UEFA and the FA and the Premier League should not have different rules on handball. Football is football, and it should all be the same. I agree.
I think if it strikes your hand, it's a pen. Just straight up. Like people go back to deliberate handball.
Sorry,
how many players deliberately handballed it, Terry?
Yeah, do you know what's funny, right? In hockey, is in field hockey, not ice hockey. If the ball touches your foot for whatever reason, a foul is given. So if me and you are playing each other and I hit the ball at your foot on purpose, it's still a foul to my team. I'm not saying make it that extreme, but at least then it would be consistent. Does that make sense? The problem we have now is an inconsistency, and the fact that the officials cannot explain the difference. That's my problem with it. If you can explain the difference between two things, then for me, I can accept anything, because you can articulately detail in basic terms why decision A is completely different from decision B. When you waffle live on television with some nonsense,
that's
when you know they're making stuff up.
Mate, can I just read this comment very quickly? Sorry. From Mia in the chat. She says, so then when a player will just kick the ball at people, ridiculous to say all the handballs are pens. You can move your hand. Because it's the same for every team. You can, if you're that good and that skilled that you can kick a ball against somebody's hand to win a penalty, it's the same for the other team as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I agree with Maya in the extent of you could end up getting 5, 6, 7 penalties each game. So you need to be careful, because you can just flick it on. Instead of shooting at goal, I was going to flick it at that player's hand. It's a lot easier from 3 yards away. But I don't think your point is to say it should 100% be this, but they should create a rule which is as clear and obvious as that, where it's, if it does this, it's a penalty. If it doesn't, it's not. The problem is that it's like when they, every few years, they start the season off by giving penalties for pulling shirts and corners. Yeah. And then after like 5 weeks, they stop doing it because they've conceded too many penalties. It's either you make a rule and you make it last, or you just let people rip each other's shirts and have done with it for me. Viewers, do us a favor and hit the like button. Please make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. Back to the original, hand to ball, ball to hand, no pen. And that's exactly it. I mean, it used to be a lot harder to get handballs for penalties. And I still think most viewers know when it's deliberate or not. The problem that you get is when rules come in like the ones now, players will start doing things with their hands and arms. So it looks like it's in a natural position, but it is making their body bigger to be able to block it because they see this rule, So listen, there's lots of
Romero at the weekend. That wasn't hand to ball. That was ball to hand. Yeah. And so, like somebody quite rightly pointed out, it bounced off of Maddison, I think, and flicked up and went onto his hand. The thing with that, not there, it's in the back of the net. So I can see why they gave it, but I could also see why it wouldn't be given.
Yeah, it can't just be hand to ball as well. Again, but hand to ball doesn't always mean the ball's going past you and you dive like a goalkeeper to touch it. Because if you only give it if it's like the defender making a save, nothing stops the defensive line on a shot doing a big star jump it hitting their hand, and they go, well, my hand was just there. I didn't.
Luis Suarez against Ghana.
Well, but this is it. So that is still hand to ball. If you're making your body naturally bigger using your arms and it hits your hand, you're putting your hand out for a reason, and that's to hope that the ball strikes it so it doesn't go past you. And I think that's what a lot of defenders are now doing on certain tackles is they slide in for blocks and they're throwing their arms out wide, or they're tucking them in like this so they make their bodies bigger. So I understand there's some deliberation, but when there's two identical decisions and they can't explain why, that's when you know they've just made mistakes, really. Maybe it isn't even the rule. Maybe it's just not admitting to making mistakes. Viewers,
I don't think they even know the rules, Terry, if we're being honest.
It's true. Viewers, do us a favor. Hit the like button, please. Make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace today. Shombe here says, Terry, last season, Liverpool versus Arsenal, Gabriel handball. You said no penalty kick, so I just don't understand the handball anymore. But my understanding was the ball struck his body first, then hit his hand. So again, by my interpretation of the law, that makes it not a handball. So yeah, and the reason I said that wasn't a pen is because I didn't think that Lisandro Martinez's was a pen, even though it was given, where he makes a clear block on the ball, hits his leg, hits his thigh, and then goes up onto his elbow. It would never have hit his elbow if he didn't get the block on it first. I didn't think that was fair. So yeah, that's why I said that.
The Gabriel one, I think it came off. Yeah, it came off his knee, skimmed his t-shirt, millimeter on the t-shirt, and then hit his hand. Same if you go back and look at the Gabriel Magalhaes one against Crystal Palace, first game of the season last season. That's a penalty. It's a penalty, but it weren't given because it hit a different body part first. But his arm was up.
Yeah, and where the handball rule doesn't make any sense in any capacity whatsoever is when you see goals like the one we conceded against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup 2 seasons ago, where it was clearly controlled with the hand, but because the goal scorer didn't use his hand, it's crazy. Or there was a goal Rashford scored last year where he has a shot, it hits the goalie, hits him, rides up, touches his elbow, and then the ball rolls in front of him, he taps it in. But if Rashford would have squared that past to Bruno and Bruno puts it in, it was a goal. Because no, I want to say that was. Yeah, it could have been Wolves, could have been somebody, but yeah.
When he was on the bench for being late, I think it was Wolves.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that game. No, it wasn't that game. It was a different
match. One that bounced. I think that Wolves game. There was one where it bounced off the keeper, hit him, and went.
There was West. I want to say it was West Ham. I can't remember who it was against. The viewers will probably remember Everton. That was it. It was Everton. So that's what I'm saying. When again, you can't have a different handball for strikers than you do defenders. Handball should just be handball, or not. It's crazy.
They put it under the bracket of gaining an advantage. So if it's a striker or an attacking player, they're gaining an advantage to score a goal that changes the outcome of the game. So how's that any different for a defender?
But mate, exactly my point. Exactly my point. You can handball it in a build-up to an attack as long as the guy handballing it doesn't score the goal. But you can't do that in any capacity when defending. Again, that's moronic in my opinion. Viewers, hit like and share buttons for us, please. Make sure you are subscribing to the show. I wanted to talk to you about Chelsea, and I wanted to ask you a question. Is Pochettino on his way, in your opinion, to being sacked?
Yep. Results game, results business, and he's got one win against one of the worst teams in the league since he's been there. Let's just be real with it. Yeah, he is on the ropes. He's got Fulham next, then he's got Burnley, and I don't know. I think they got Brighton in the cup tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow. They got Brighton, then they got Fulham, then they got Burnley, then they got Arsenal after the international break. He could be sacked in that international break. Yeah, and like Chelsea fans, I've seen a lot of Chelsea fans that have been content creating for a long time, and they're so chilled. And it's like, mate, why weren't you this chill under Roman? It's almost like when Roman left, their hope left. Like it's like this guy's come in and they've realised actually, yeah, we're a completely different football club now. We're not Chelsea FC. Yeah, we're something else. Yeah, and they've kind of accepted the state of that football club real quick in 1 year or 18 months, whatever it is he's been there. Yeah, this would never have gone down like this with Chelsea fans if this was Abramovich. Firstly, they wouldn't be in this position. Yeah, because he knew what he was doing and he was ruthless with it. Yeah, and they had a strategy and a plan. This guy has come in. I think they do have a strategy and a plan, but it's the wrong strategy and plan. Yeah, they're going for all these young kids that are like under 25. They ain't got a striker. They're like, yeah, they're creating chances, but they can't finish any of them. They're chopping and changing the team every week. Like, at the end of the day, where's the cutoff? Where's the line that you draw in the sand that says, nah, actually enough's enough, mate? But again, if you're going to sack him, what manager in world football right now is looking at Chelsea and going, yeah, I love some of that. They ain't got a striker. They've got a bunch of average players or talented youngsters that have been hyped up based off of social media, Mudryk being one of them, right? Where's Enzo's probably the only player right now that you'd look at and say, yeah, do you know what? He's actually been all right since he's got there. Yeah, the rest of them have been rubbish, Like, honestly, he has actually performed pretty well. I wouldn't say he's been great because he ain't. Yeah, but Enzo's probably the one that you'd say, do you know what? He gets a pass, but the rest of them is shocking. I know they've got injuries in Kunku, Reece James, but you're putting Chilwell on the bench. And then you're bringing him on like second. No, come on, man. Like, people can moan about the red card at the weekend all they like. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, that's not the reason they didn't win the game. Like, that everyone hyped up COLWILL. On what? Because all I've seen of him so far is a bang average centre back. Yeah, John Terry's number, absolutely skinned by Ollie Watkins for the goal. Yeah, what's the keeper doing? Where's the midfield? What are their strikers doing? Mudryk put 2 on a plate. There, Jackson. Yeah, I think he's now suspended 5 yellow cards in 6 games as a striker. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, that football club. Yeah, they should make a movie on that. How to ruin a football club inside 18 months. Because since he's got there, he has absolutely destroyed that club. And I can't believe how chill Chelsea fans are with it. I can't believe the stadium's still full every weekend. Yeah, they booed at the weekend. Cool. Oh, you still paid to go there. Like, we see Ajax fans at the weekend get a game abandoned. Yeah, we've seen Leon Ultras giving it the Bertie after PSG. Yeah, we've seen multiple other instances. This lot are just sitting there going, boo, after paying 70 quid to watch the game. Like, mate, from where they were with Roman to where they are now with Bowley, and their fans are just accepting it. Yeah, they've gone 6 years, soon to be 7 without a title. Yeah, they're soon going to be 20 like Arsenal, and they're just chill. I don't get it. Yeah, all these content creators, and I'm not digging anyone out individually. Yeah, I'm calling it collectively. That's what happened to Arsenal. Yeah, that's what happened to Arsenal. With these two behind me, yeah, and now look at where we are. All the way down 20 years later. Chelsea go 20 years real quick. Look at Liverpool. 1991, George Graham ended their dominance. Well, in fact, he ended it all the way through the late 80s. Yeah. But they then never won a title until Klopp. 30 years. Real quick, you go 20, 30 years. Yeah, Chelsea fans need to get a backbone. And that's with all due respect. Listen, I ain't got no problem with Chelsea fans. Yeah, and I actually rated them under Roman. But the way they're all sitting on their channels and on Twitter and all these other platforms, just so chill with it, just bantering and having a laugh. And nah, come on, you weren't like that under Roman. What's changed? I know the owner's changed. Call your club out, hold them accountable because you did it under Roman. But it's almost like they've accepted that this this owner, even if they called the club out, he ain't Roman, so oh well, we'll have to accept it. It's mad.
We'll come back to the process side of what's going on at Chelsea in a minute. You mentioned that COLWILL.
I actually hate that word, process.
I know you do, but what when you say Levi COLWILL looks bang average,
yep,
break that down for me.
Okay, one-on-one situations, he gets skinned every time. Every time. Yeah, and that's not just his fault. He's getting isolated because the gap between the centre backs and the midfield is like you could slide the Titanic in there. Yeah, it's a massive gaping hole because Caicedo's nowhere to be seen, Enzo's too far forward, and Conor Gallagher is trash. Right, but then when you're in one-on-one situations, you need to defend better. Yeah, you know Ollie Watkins is right-footed. Show him on his left. You're showing him down the right. Then you block the shot, the initial shot. Yeah, but you don't get enough on it. So that comes back to him, and then you have to stand up and now try and jockey him and force him away to the corner flag or to an angle where it's impossible to shoot, or put him back on his left. And then hope that your midfield runners are coming back in or your other centre-back partners there. It's dead. Too easy. I see it against, was it Brighton the other week they played? Can't remember. They played somebody the other day and he got nutmegged. Got nutmegged on the goal. Like, it's like, bro, close your legs. Yeah, like, honestly, close your legs. He is so easy to go one-on-one with. It is crazy. Yes, he might be an up-and-coming young superstar. Nobody really knows. But they've hyped him up so high to give him JT's number based off of what? based off of the fact, oh, he's an academy boy, he's come through the ranks, he had a good season last year. I'll give him JT's number. Yeah, get behind. Oh, go on, lads. Yeah, mate. This is why I get the ump with football at times, Terry, because a player can have a half decent season, one decent performance, 5 decent performances. Ultimately, you are now playing for Chelsea Football Club. Expectations and levels are supposedly different to Brighton. Yeah, and he's been trash ever since he's gone in that first team. One-on-one, he's rubbish, mate.
Do you not feel though? There's 2 things here. Firstly, it was Thiago Silva that was defending against Ollie Watkins for the goal, not Colwill. But do you not think this is partly on Poch?
Was it Silva? No, it was Colwill.
No, Silva. Thiago Silva was.
Maybe I'm wrong. Number 26. I see the back of his shirt as Watkins put it in the back of the net, mate.
I swear it was. I thought it was Silva.
I'm going to get the highlights up now. I'm pretty sure.
Highlights on your phone. Yeah. I just thought it was Silva.
I'm pretty sure it was. If it isn't Colwill, I'll take it all back. Yeah, but I'm sure that was Colwill, mate. Yeah, it was Silva with a nutmeg. There you go. It was Silva that got nutmegged. My bad. But that goal at the weekend from Ollie Watkins, that was him. Yeah, that was him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but the nutmeg. Okay, fair enough. Cool. The nutmeg was.
So that's cool. Again, it was. I don't remember everything about that game. I was watching that Liverpool and the Arsenal game all at the same time, so things do get murky when that happens. But do you not feel like? Do you not feel like the issue though is that he's a centre back being played as a left back and it's creating problems for him?
No, I don't. Yeah, modern football, Terry, right, has got these funky inverted fullbacks, inverted centre backs. Like, he's left-footed on the left side, right-footer on the right side, all of this rubbish. If you're a good defender, you're a good defender, mate. Doesn't matter where you play. Yeah, if you put Tony Adams at left back, he'd still be the best defender on the pitch. If you put John Terry at right back, he'd still be the best defender on the pitch. No. I know I'm going to the extreme in terms of top defenders.
Do you really think that? If John Terry, you think if John Terry played at fullback, he would have been just as good, just as dominant?
Yeah. We've seen Nathan Ake at Man City play at left back half the season last season. He's a centre back. And look how good he was. Probably one of the best, if not the best, from that period when he went at left back. He was probably the best left back in the league from when he started at left back last season, all the way to the end of it. Ended up resulting in a treble. We've got Vardial playing left back, then the other days at centre back. If you're a good defender, you're a good defender. Yeah, you have to have the IQ and the brain to know that, right, this guy, this is my opponent. He's right-footed, so I'll show him on his left. Yeah, if you've got somebody like Trossard, for example, or Pedro Neto, they're equally as good with both feet. Yeah, Jota's another one at Liverpool. Yeah, equally as good with both feet. So now you have to defend them slightly differently. Yeah, you have to engage them quick and get on them. As soon as the ball's coming into them, bang, on their first touch. Yeah, sometimes you'll wipe them out and give a foul away, get booked. Yeah, but you do not let players that are technically gifted on both feet a chance to run at you because it's game over. Yeah, but when there's a player that's so one-footed like Ollie Watkins, show him on his left. Run him down the channel and then pop him in the left. Yeah, so you're blocking off that angle. You're not doing that. It's basic defending, Terry. Yeah, if you put John Terry, and I know I'm going to one of the greatest defenders in the Premier League era, and same with Tony Adams. If you put them two anywhere in that back four, they'd be the best player on the pitch defensively. Because they know what to do.
Yeah, defensively, I agree. I do think players, especially like John Terry, would be exposed in fullback positions because of a lack of pace. I think if you put...
No. Let me stop you right there. Let me take you right back to the cup final. Yeah, when Arsenal in 2017 won that cup final, I was there. We will be there. Yeah, Per Mertesacker, first game of the season, came in at centre-back. He has no pace. Yeah, he has no pace. Didn't see Eden Hazard skinning him. Yeah, he was being dragged out to the right fullback position.
Yeah, did he get played? Did he get played at fullback or centre back?
No, he got played at centre back. But there's times in a game where your fullback. There's times in a game where your fullback's so far forward, and now you have to cut in at right back to block that gap because now Hazard's on the break.
So you don't think a centre back who lacks pace could struggle if starting and playing in a wide position for the majority of games?
No, not at all. Because if you're defensively sound, yeah, and composed. Yeah, and know where to be. Yeah, how many times you've had some great defenders at Man United, some great defenders at Man United. Yeah, how many times was Rio Ferdinand out of position? And I know we're talking centre back, but how many times was he on the front foot? He was nicking the ball. Vidic was the power. Rio was the finesse. But Vidic, would go and get the ball, but Rio would step in and he'd cut the ball up. Because if you read the game extremely well, you don't give him a chance. You have to know your opponent. So it's like, if he gets the ball, bang, I have to get on him quick. If he gets the ball, cool. I know he's one-footed, so I show him on the wrong foot. So he's left. He's a right-footed player playing on the left, so I won't let him cut inside. I'll show him down the wing. It's all about your levels and how you deal with it.
I understand that. I think where we need to be careful. I understand your point. I think
that comment's perfect, by the way. Dan Burn's about 8 foot tall.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. So let me just say, like, Dan Burn does a very good job at left back, and I think, and what I was about to say, I think there are certain players who can do that role, that can be centre backs, that can play in those wide positions. We've seen Man United, Wes Brown do it for a number of years. You guys have got Ben White playing out there right now, where I would say he's predominantly been. So I think it works. I do think sometimes, though, but I do think there's an element there of certain players that have terrible pace would struggle. What I also think as well, when it comes to someone like Levi Colwill, is that he is a centre back and he's also 20 years of age. And what I mean by that is it's about experience as well. So he's not even got that much experience yet of being a centre back kind of under his belt, as an example. However, he's now being told to play in a left back role where he's also not experienced, and he's kind of struggling, if that makes sense. And some players kind of, that's what some don't. So I think it's one of those things. Let me finish my point. I think some defenders can go and do it. I don't think all defenders can. This is the thing. I don't think every centre back that's ever played football would be proficient and of a good enough quality to play in the Premier League as a left back, especially in this era where lines are so high and there's a lot of room in behind. So I do think you have to kind of get it right. Not everybody. It's like attackers. Some players can be left-sided attackers, but over the course of their career, they can adapt to be world-class on the right and through the centre as well. Ronaldo did it. Gareth Bale was able to do it, but not everybody's able to play left, right, and down the centre.
That comes back to the quality of the player, the reading of the game of the player, the ability of the player. And not only that, if these fans didn't hype up a player that's so young, like you said, because you've mentioned his age, 20 years old. Well, if he was doing all right, nobody had mentioned his age. How old's Erling Haaland? Nobody mentions his age because he's bagging goals for fun. No, so it's only age is brought into it when a player has deficiencies.
No, age is not only just brought into it in that point. Erling Haaland is an anomaly. Hang on, I'll tell you why Erling Haaland is an anomaly. Because there's only been one other striker in European football in the last 50 years that has scored at this rate at his age, and that was R9. No other striker or goal scorer has been anywhere this. You could argue Mbappe as well, but Mbappe's not been doing it domestically in one of the biggest leagues in the world. It's an anomaly because it's barely been done. It's rarely been done, as an example. Most young players take time to settle and develop. Most 20-year-old defenders are not top class to world class and proficient, even in their own position, let alone multiple positions by the age of 20. So for me, I think what you're doing there is you're taking the exceptions of outstanding players.
Okay, I'll give you a better example then.
Hang on, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. I think what you're doing is you're taking, there are always going to be examples of handfuls of players who are proficient at a young age in one or multiple positions, but the vast majority of players are not. So the rule can't be made for the exception for me.
Okay, explain William Saliba then. Or is he an anomaly? Because William Saliba is 22, 23 years old, is in his 4th season of professional football. He's played in the French league, for 3 of them. How old is he? 23? 22, 23. The guy's an absolute Rolls Royce. 22. There you go. He's in his 4th season of professional football. He's played 3 seasons in France and 1 full season at Arsenal, and now he's into his probably his 5th season of football now. So that guy, and again at the weekend, the way he absolutely turned and spun, cool, casual, composed. How many times do you see that guy get spun? How many times do you see that guy? How many times do you see that guy?
Let me respond, because you asked. I get what you. No. Well, but you've said Saliba. We know what Saliba is. I get you. Yeah. I would say this: Saliba has played 155 games in his career. compared to Levi Colwill, who has played just 29 at top-level football, right? One is nearly 3 years older than the other. I think that also plays a big part in it. Plus, my opinion is this. Saliba could be one of those anomaly players that we're talking about. All I heard last year, and I've heard from a lot of people, is best young centre-back in the world. And in fact, there's a lot of people that say right now he could be the best centre-back in the Premier League. Nobody is making that claim about Levi Colwill. So when I look at the plaudits, the accolades, the way that a player is coveted, Saliba is, I'm not going to use the word hype because that's disrespectful. Saliba is spoken about, rated in a vastly superior way to that of Levi Colwill, if you minus Chelsea fans who, of course, big up their own academy player as an example. For me right now, if you said you can sign Saliba or Colwill, it wouldn't take me more than 2 seconds to say, William Saliba, now get him up. I'll go pick him up, get it done. So I do think there is a very, very big difference between those two players right now. However, what can happen in the next 3 years is and we've seen this, and I'm not saying this happened to Saliba, because we've all seen this where players burst through 18, 19, 20, 21, they're amazing, and then they stay at that level. And then some players, as they get towards their mid-20s, they just continue to get better and better and better over time. So development comes at different stages. So back to the original point, I understand that Colwell's been poor so far this year. It's hard for me to judge a centre-back of his age with limited experience at the top flight end who's being played out of position in a team that's massively struggling overall. The situation isn't good for him. Very different from that as a player who's playing in his natural position in a team that's playing well who's older with more experience. So I think when you're comparing things, you have to do like with like. And I think the circumstances, age, and overall ability. Saliba is a much better defender than Levi Colwill, in my opinion.
Okay,
yes.
At 20 years old, because that's how old this lad is, yeah? Right, first and foremost, right, the amount of people I've seen hype up this Colwill, yeah? Hype him up to, like, the moon and back, right? Hype him up based off of what? Based off of one season. Okay, cool. Fair enough, he did all right. Yeah, but now he's in a Chelsea team that is struggling. Well, that's irrelevant. If you're quality, you're quality. Enzo Fernandez is in a Chelsea team that's struggling. He still performs most weeks. Can't do it on his own. I get it. But he still walks off that pitch most weeks and you go, he played all right today. Yeah, he played all right today. Now go back to Saliba 3 years ago when he was 20, or he was 19 3 years ago because he's not 23 yet, right? People were saying the Mbappe centre-backs. Yes, he's lived up to that standard. Yes, he's been in a more settled team. I get it. But he weren't. He was in St. Etienne. He was on loan here and there, blah, blah, blah. But he was still performing to the highest of highest levels, even in teams that were underperforming. St. Etienne nearly got relegated. Yeah, but he was getting in team of the weeks and team of the seasons when he was at 19, 20 years old. Yeah, is that guy getting in team of the season this year? No. Regardless of how poor Chelsea are, St. Etienne nearly got relegated. He got team of the season.
But I understand that. But there's two things I would say to that. And I'm not saying it's not about right or wrong here, because I want to make that's not what I'm saying. Saliba is better than Colwill, 110%. But Chelsea fans hyping him, potentially overhyping him, saying he's better than he is, for me is irrelevant to how I'm going to assess him. Because I'm only going to
him that he's bang average so far from what I've seen.
So I totally understand that you're saying that. But for me, I don't think he's ready or experienced enough yet to, in a dysfunctional team with a new manager, who, by the way, the team has been 39 points in their last 38 games, 12 points in the last 18, to put him in an
Chelsea manager, Pochettino, should be coming out saying he can be one of the best greatest centre-backs in the world.
Okay, I get, but that's, again, for me, all of that is irrelevant from what we're talking about, because that's just, well, I'm going to assess the player more harshly because of good things that have been said about him. That's kind of not how I operate, really. But for me, it's a case of, I just don't think he should be being played out of position this early in his career in a dysfunctional team who are in relegation form. Put that aside for a moment, though. When it comes to Chelsea, I mean, we mentioned about the manager being sacked. So there's been a headline today that Poch just told the Chelsea players to grow up after their worst start in 40.
After he buys the youngest players in the world.
Hang on a minute. Let me just finish this bit and we'll come into it. He wants them to grow up because it's more not the statement. That statement is not really part of what I'm talking about. After their worst start in 45 years, A stat that came out today that Enzo Fernandez has only registered one win against a current Premier League side since he signed for Chelsea, and it came against Bournemouth in May. As an example, that was put out today by ESPN. They are currently only 2 wins in their last 18 games as a football club in the Premier League. In the last 35 games, and these stats are all being looked at, their points per game average is at like 0.8, which is enough to get relegated in every Premier League season ever, if that continues throughout the course of this season. They've got a very hard run of fixtures on the horizon. Like, I agree with you about Poch. I think Poch is under tremendous pressure. And I know Chelsea fans, and there was a super chat, not super chat, a comment that I starred earlier that sort of said that most of our content creators are backing this process. It's embarrassing. And for me, this is where Chelsea fans have got to be very, very careful, because they all keep talking about we've got the most possession, we've got the most amount of shots, the most amount of big chances created. It's going to click. But do you think after their current form over the last 12 months, worst start to a league campaign in 45 years, no goals being scored, a very young team, do you think backing this process is the right thing for these Chelsea fans to do?
No, they should be writing. They should be writing. They've forced bigger and better managers and bigger and better players out of that football club than what they've got there now, Terry. Ancelotti got sacked at half time. Jose got sacked twice. They've had managers win a league and get sacked. Managers win a title, get sacked. Conte, sacked. Record-breaking points tally, record-breaking wins. Well, it weren't points tally, record-breaking wins in a season at that point. Yeah, 2017. 30 wins in a season. We then done them in the cup final. I think he got sacked the next season. Like, they're all sitting there, edging their bets. Oh, hopefully it comes good. Most of them are just trying to get a sponsorship deal. Let's just be real with it. let's just be real with it. We know the game. Yeah, we know what they're doing. Yeah. If I be nice and I keep pushing the PR, I might appear on Chelsea TV. Yeah, or I might get on 888. Like, do me a favor. Yeah, how about say it as it is? Yeah. And if you actually listen to some of the older heads, they're fuming. The problem is the internet's more of a younger person's game rather than an older head. Yes, the older ones that have seen it live through the 80s and their rubbish era, then into the 90s where they were actually half decent, getting cup finals, this and that, then Roman's era. Yeah, and it's like, bro, it's mad. They should be absolutely going nuts. That club has gone from being an elite level football club run by an elite level owner all the way top to bottom, elite academy, which they keep raving about. Oh, we're our academy. Oh, the 1v1 demon. Look at him. He's at Forest now. Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And now look at them. They're all sitting there going, well, yeah, you know, we're getting the most XG in games. Turn it in. That club has gone from being up here to being down here inside less than 18 months. And they're all accepting it. No, you should be using your platforms to call them out. Call them out. It's a disgrace what's happened to that football club. Listen, I couldn't care less. It ain't my club. But I've seen this story before, Terry, hence why we've gone 20 years without a title. Yeah, that club will go 20 years without a title unless they fix up and look sharp real quick. Yeah, it's actually crazy. What can Chelsea fans do, says Twisted. I'll tell you what they can do. Yeah, go and have a look at what Ajax fans did the other day.
That was wild. That was wild.
Yeah, they got the game called off, though, didn't they? Yeah, they're finishing the game tomorrow, I think. Yeah, which means their next game's postponed because now they have to shoehorn the rest of that fixture in. 3-0 down to their local or their rival, their final. Yeah, they've got the game. I'm not saying go and smash the stadium up or anything like that, but they made a statement. The game got called off because of flares being put on the pitch. Yeah, I watched a Saudi League game the other day, Al Nassr against Al Ahly, yeah, and Ronaldo scores a goal when there's smoke bombs and flares, but that game got called off for that. They called the game off, and then you see all the police horses charging out. They absolutely wrecked that place. I'm not saying go to them levels, but there's things you can do. When I talk about the Glazers and your fans, I said to you the other day, I did a watch along for the game the other day, and your fans are sat in the stadium with their new shirts with Bruno on number 8 on the back or whatever number he is, holding up the Norwich scarves. You've paid to go there, mate, wearing the new shirt. Yeah, stop going, protest, and boycott and cause a scene. When you lot got the biggest game in England called off, you stormed the stadium. You stormed the stadium. These things only happen abroad. Why? Because the fans abroad, yeah, have got a backbone. Yeah, they ain't got PR infiltrating their mind through Sky Sports. Yeah, their ultras set the standards based off of what the football club standards were originally. Yeah, and you can laugh.
No, what I mean is, my question to you,
I was being 3-0 down.
Okay, hang on. That wasn't why they rioted, though. It's more than that. They're 14th in the league. It does also show how important Ten Hag was to them as a manager, because since he's left, they've completely dropped off. On top of that, they've already got rid of people, the sporting director, people like this. They've been buying badly. They're being coached badly. Obviously, they've not just lost Ten Hag. They lost Mark Overmars for what looked like the right reasons. Van der Sar's moved away. And
they brought Overmars back. I think they're bringing him back, in there.
Well, I don't know if he's been proven innocent or not, but that's a by the by, because I don't know anything about it. So I won't talk about it if I don't know anything about it. But this is why I've been talking about for years. When a club is run well, it will succeed.
Okay, so let me stop you. Sorry,
let me go on.
No, let me cut you off, because you're saying since Ten Hag's left, which is what, 15 months ago, that club's now just nosedived, yeah? So rather than let it go 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they're doing it now. But mate, they're doing it now.
You know, if you'd let bro, that was before you interjected, that was gonna be my point. That's what I said to you. Sometimes you interject me thinking I'm challenging you, but I'm not. We're probably going to agree. And that's where I think you've got to. This is where I look at what Ajax did. Now, I'm not advocating smashing up part of the stadium. I'm not advocating that behavior per se. But Ajax have also come out and turned around and said they won't be issuing any bans to any fans that did what they did. And this is the thing. Man United fans are so afraid of, but if I give up my ticket, I might never get it back. Or if I do this, I might never be allowed back in again. And that's where they get you. That's where they make you not do these. Listen, you could just stand outside the stadium. If you've got 50,000 of you to stand by the entrance where the players come in every game and say, we're not letting the players into the ground, the games get called off. And if you just 50,000 of you stand there in a group, don't just stand still. Nothing, link arms. You're not breaking the law. It's not against the law to do it. Nothing will happen to you.
That's it. I'll give you an example.
And it does say, so listen, what the Ajax fans did.
Valencia played Athletic Bilbao, right? At Valencia's ground, yeah? Right? They can't stand their owners. The owner that employed Gary Neville to be manager, who has a stake in Salford FC. I think he's the chairman or whatever. He's the owner of Valencia. Yeah, they're so against that Valencia owner that when they played Athletic Bilbao, most of the fans were outside the ground the whole game. Hardly anyone inside the stadium for the whole game. They're all standing outside protesting. Guess what? That now goes global. Yeah, all of a sudden, Valencia fix up this summer, and now they're all the way up the top, near the top 4, top 5, whatever. Yeah, because fans, without fans, you ain't got a football club. Let's just be real with it. Yeah, Man United fans, yes, I know most of them don't live in England, the same as most top clubs in England or around Europe now. Yeah, Real Madrid, 90%, 95, 99% of their fans are not Spanish. Yeah, but you can make a stand. You have to be on the same page. But the problem is, in England, the PR is a disgrace. Sky Sports peddle out crap. They hype up everything. And then, as football fans online, the perks of being a super top red are outweighing actually saying what the truth is. Yeah, so you use your account for the wrong reason.
And I think a lot of that plays a part. The biggest issue that I have is when people say, but look, all the foreign fans will still buy stuff. And I'm like, see, you're disrespectful of the foreign fans, international fans, because they follow suit and they love the club as well. But it's a case of, why should they not buy a kit if you're going to the ground? It becomes well, I'm not doing this unless you do that. Well, somebody make the first move. You know, I gave up 2 season tickets that I waited a long time to get in the Stretford End, and I gave them up. I stopped buying things. Although my ex-wife, I found out the other day because I FaceTimed Archie and he answered it, and I didn't talk for like 30 seconds. He's like, Daddy, what's the matter with you? So why have you got a Man United shirt on, son? He went, oh, they didn't tell me that they bought him one. And look, it is what it is. Like I can't control what. Although he's my son, we're very I can't control it.
That ain't right.
Mate, I can't control. He's in another country. Nothing I could do about it. I was like,
no,
he's got a little, yeah. Anyway, and it's one of these things. I get it completely. When it comes to Chelsea, look, I understand what their club is trying to build. I understand what their team is trying to do. I understand what the owner is trying to achieve, but they're getting things wrong. And the problem is with what's going on there right now is I think some people are burying their heads in the sand. I think the worst thing they can do right now is sack Pochettino, because I think they need a manager they need to give somebody time. They need to let somebody settle. They need to let somebody develop this football team. They've got to find a way of relieving this pressure. And I don't think sacking a manager per se is going to do that. However, the way I'm seeing some Chelsea fans say we're going to be okay because some of the metrics look good, you're also not considering, barring Liverpool, they haven't really played a top team yet. So yes, they've got 67% possession, but if over the next 7-8 games, when they go away to Fulham, who play possession football, when they play Arsenal, when they play Brighton, when they play Brentford, when they play City, that possession stat is going to drop by at least 10 to 15% because those teams will have a lot more of the ball. They have played Bournemouths and Forests and whoever else where they're having the lion's share of possession. Their inability to score goals and last season is creeping in for them. And I don't know, strange is the right word, but when I watched Chelsea, I watched 3 of their preseason games and I thought they're moving that ball well. They're looking tasty. I watched them against Liverpool first game and thought there's a team in there. But every game, I feel like they're getting progressively worse. The pressure is building. And as I say, I just think in this scenario, sacking Pochettino, I don't think he's going to massively help them because they thought sacking Tuchel was going to help. It didn't. They thought sacking Potter was going to help. It didn't. Why do you disagree? Why would sacking Poch this time be different from sacking Tuchel and Graham Potter? Why would it improve in this time?
Tuchel in the first place. Let's just have that right. They should never have sacked him in the first place.
But that's by the by.
13 wins since Bowley's been the owner of that football club. He's got 5 of them. Yeah, he's been there over 15 months and they've had 13 wins. Yeah, Tuchel's got 5 of them.
Yeah, so I agree with that. Yeah, so
that's mad. Right? But then they go and get a nice guy in Graham Potter, a nice guy. Pochettino, nice guy. Yeah, they need a bastard, Terry. Yeah, they need a horrible, nasty, Simeone-esque manager in there. Yeah, but they ain't going to get that manager because nobody's taking that job. Yeah, so again, it comes back to what you're saying. Get rid of him. What changes? Probably nothing. But it depends what type of manager they go and get. If they could literally go and get Big Sam right now and they'd be better. And I'm not even joking. Yeah, Big Sam will go in there. Terry, I am not even joking. Right? If they went and got Big Sam, do you think any players arguing with him? Pochettino says something. What they'll go, yeah, whatever, mate.
So hang on, just a second. So you think that the players are arguing and just not listening to Poch because he's too weak?
I think no, I'm not saying that. I think he is weak. Yeah, I don't think he stamped his authority on that club and on them players. I think there's too many players there for him to coach. Yeah, they're all young or youngish. Yeah, Sterling, you don't need to teach Sterling what to do. He knows what he's doing. He's worked under Pep. He's been at Liverpool under Brendan Rodgers. Yeah, Sterling, he knows how to. You don't need to coach Sterling. Yeah, Mudryk and all these other players, like Enzo Fernandez, probably to a lesser degree doesn't need to be coached so much. He's won a World Cup, but he's probably sitting there, Enzo, saying, "Why am I playing number 10? Yeah, why is Conor Gallagher in the 8? That's where I'm supposed to play." Yeah, Caicedo's a one-man midfield because Enzo's up there, Conor Gallagher's over there, and Caicedo's looking like a fish out of water. Yeah, it's a mess, and that is on the manager. If you went and got Big Sam straight away, defensively sound, yeah, structure, yeah, to the team. I'm not even joking. Terry, you think I'm joking? Yeah, Sterling is pony, by the way, Lee. Yeah, I'm not saying he's great, but he don't need to be coached. Yeah, he knows how to play football.
I want to stop for a second. So players of Sterling's age and a player as young as Enzo, just because he's won a World Cup, don't need a coach.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I said to a lesser degree, if you'd listened to what I said. To a lesser degree, he's played with some of the greatest players of all time, Leo Messi, right? Angel Di Maria, yeah? He don't need to be told how to run a midfield. He's done it for Argentina to win a World Cup, right? So to a lesser degree, he doesn't need Poch telling him, right, what you need to do against Luton is do this and this. No. Let me finish. Let me finish. The way these hipster managers have come in and destroyed football, they've overcoached teams, they overcoach players, yeah, and they're in-game overcoaching, micromanaging of players after they've set their team up. They've got 1 game a week, Terry. He's got a whole week to train and work with these players, right? They don't need to train so hard because they're only playing once a week, yeah, so they can come in light training. It's not 100 mile an hour, right? We've got another game every 3 days, right? 1 game a week, and he's overcoaching them. Yeah, and they're just looking around going, why is Enzo at number 10? Why is Conor Gallagher at 8? Do you think they're not in group chat saying this?
Maybe. Yeah. So you sort of look at it as like the kind of Pep has kind of ruined football by over coaching and over complicating things, because a lot of them say they see him as but they're copying. A lot of people say they're copying what he's done in football.
They are copying him. Arteta's copying him. Poch is copying him. Derby's copying him. And Nagelsmann's copying him.
So the Pep style of coaching and managing has killed football.
I wouldn't say it's killed football, but it's made football a lot more diluted to what it used to be. Yeah, a lot more diluted. You got Pochettino, who's a bang average coach. Yeah, over coaching players from what I'm seeing, playing players out of position, don't know his best 11, chops and changes every week. 1 week he's playing a 3 at the back, then he's playing a 4 at the back, then he's playing Enzo at 10, then he's playing this guy at left back, the centre back we've said, then he's playing him over there. It's like, mate, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? The only manager in world football that can get away with doing that is Man City's manager. Yeah, I watched the Real Madrid game at the weekend. I didn't see Fran Garcia inverting. I didn't see Rudiger at left back. Yeah, I didn't see Jude Bellingham playing anywhere other than where he should do. I didn't see what's his name, Danny Carvajal inverting. Yeah, I didn't see Morata playing like left wing. Yeah, I didn't see like Saul and Koke like playing here. And no, they're playing in their right positions. And guess what? It was a great game of football. Yeah, 2 teams that went for it, and that lady played them off the park in the end. Yeah, but it was old-fashioned, old-school football without all of this hipster crap. 2 managers that just go, do you know what? We're going to play our best players in the right positions, and we're going to have a go at it. Yeah, do you think Ancelotti's coaching Modric and Kroos? Do you think he's coaching them? He ain't coaching them. They know how to play football. He's saying go out and have a good time. Go and do what you got to do. Yeah, it's mad. Do you think he's coaching Kroos and Modric? You're mad, mate.
Yes, he is.
You're crazy.
So you're telling me he doesn't give any instructions to the likes of Modric and Toni Kroos. He just says, go on, boys, have fun. See you later, boys.
Do you think against Osasuna, yeah, he's telling Modric, right, what you need to do, yeah, is when this guy, yeah, Vasquez or whoever it may be, or him, when he gets the ball, what you need to do is, because he's weaker on his right, you need to show. Do you think he's doing that? Turn it in. Turn it in.
Hang on a minute, but we know that this goes on. Because with what
it goes on with the hipster managers. He's an old school manager.
Hang on, but so you're telling me, this is an opinion thing, you don't think that Carlo Ancelotti sits down with his team, sometimes big groups, sometimes small groups, sometimes experienced, sometimes young, sometimes together, and they go through video footage before and after games, review things and speak about this is where you'll need to position. Because you don't think there's a different instruction for Luka Modric when he's playing Barcelona away at the Nou Camp versus being at home in a Champions League game to Sheriff. Of course there's going to be a different instruction. Of course they're watching video footage.
Do you think against Osasuna or Sheriff he's teaching him what to do? Terry.
Again, there's not so maybe we're playing a bit of word doctoring here. They are still being coached. They are still being instructed. They are still being put in formations. And look, I understand where you're coming from to a certain degree. But I don't think we've got to go back to the original point here because we have to get stuck in the weeds. I don't think sacking Poch and bringing in Big Sam, just because Big Sam won't try and invert a fullback, is going to fix Chelsea's problems.
That's what they need. They need structure. They need some sort of structure at that football club rather than a mishmash of inverted, false this, hybrid this, mashing up the team every week. Nah, mate. Yeah, I'm not having it. Yeah, if you put Big Sam in that Chelsea as Chelsea manager, he would get a better output out of that squad. I'm not even taking the piss. I am not even taking the mick. If you put Big Sam in that job, he does a better output. You can laugh all you like. You can laugh hilarious. You can laugh all you like because do you know what? Okay, let me ask you this question then. Yeah, do you think when Big Sam was Bolton manager, he's coaching JJ Okocha and Christophe Dugarry and like Campos and all that? Do you think he's coaching them? I don't think he's coaching them, Terry. And this is what I'm saying. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying about Real Madrid with Ancelotti and Modric and all of these players. Do you think he's telling Vinny Jr. what to do? Vinny Jr. knows where to run, mate. He knows how to get on the ball and dribble past a player. He knows exactly where his teammates are going to be because they've grown up and played together for a sustained period of time. That's what I'm saying. Yes, they will have tactics for a game. But he's not telling Modric, right, when this guy gets the ball, what you need to do is drop here, yeah, to stop the passing lane. But yeah, maybe in a massive game against Man City, he might do that. Yeah, but against Osasuna, Hetafe, Girona,
let me just say, I don't think the manager turns around and explains every element of every single moment in a football match that a professional with the experience of a Modric or even the quality of a Vinicius Junior needs. But he's definitely guiding them and gives them pearls of wisdom and gives them advice and gives them encouragement and gives them coaching. So your point about Ancelotti, though, not playing people out of position. I just looked at the weekend when they got slapped up by Atletico Madrid. He had Luka, but hang on a minute. So this is where like what you say isn't 100% right. He played Luka Modric in the 10 and he played Bellingham as a striker.
Yeah.
But you said he doesn't. All managers don't do it.
Have you not watched Madrid all season?
But you said he doesn't do those things.
No. Have you not watched Madrid all season? Luka Modric is a 10. I don't know why you're bringing that up. He is a 10.
Yeah, but nobody's ever spoken about him.
10, yes or no?
Luka Modric, is he a number 10? I've never known him to play. He's a central midfielder. I've never looked at him as a number 10.
I'm getting a beer.
Again, maybe I'm being educated here. Is Luka Modric a 10? I never thought Luka Modric was seen as a 10 in my life. No one's ever told me that he's a 10. Ever. Swear down. And I didn't know he was a 10. It shows my football knowledge is whack. Luka Modric is a 10.
Luka Modric, can play anywhere on the football pitch and still be the best player on it, mate. Yeah, absolute baller. And he has been a 10 for a lot of his career, but the older he's got, because he's touching 39 now, I think, or 38. Yeah, the older he's got, the further back he's gone. Hang on. Let's not go off course. Hang on, wait. So I just checked here. In his career, he has played 482 games as a central midfielder. He's played 72 as a attacking midfielder. And it says here that he's played 22 as a kind of number 10 stroke support striker. So, okay, he's been in that role, but his predominant position is a central midfield player, not an out-and-out number 10. So he's played 1/5 of the games you've just mentioned as a second striker stroke number 10. 1/5 of the games you just mentioned.
No, not 1/5. One-fifth of nearly... Hang on. 482 games as a central midfielder. He played 1/5 of that would be nearly 50. Would be nearly 100. Hang on, would be nearly 100 games. He's played 25 in the position you're talking about in his whole career.
No. You said 72 before that.
No, that's as an attacking midfielder.
Which is a number 10.
Okay, it depends because again, I'd call that more of an 8. Because I think that you're more of an attack-minded midfielder. A number 10 and an attacking midfielder don't play in the same position per se. Because what's his name? Odegaard at your club plays in the midfield 3, which is central midfield, but he attacks. He doesn't sit behind the striker.
He's a number 10.
Okay, we'll put that down to interpretation. Hang on, bro, I don't want to argue. We'll just put that down to interpretation.
But what I'm saying is, you just brought up about Jude Bellingham that I haven't been able to answer yet. Yeah? Playing as a striker. If you actually watch Real Madrid this season, all the games he's played. Yeah, because I've watched them all. Right, he has literally played as a second striker or a striker. If you go back to before Vinny Junior got injured, there was a ball. I think it was Cruz passed it into the box, and he was flicking it over the goalkeeper. One of his very first games. Maybe it was one of his very first goals. Yeah, the weekend he dropped a stinker. Yeah, that was a disgusting performance from Jude. Yeah, but Real Madrid was shocking as a whole, and he was a big part of that. But if you look at Modric, as I'm coming back to, Modric, you just said 484 games or 480-something games he's played in CM. As an attacking midfielder or a second striker, he's played 20. So he's played nearly 100 games as an attacking midfielder. But you're then sitting there trying to use that as, Ancelotti played him as a number 10. Well, he's played it 100 times in his career, mate.
I'm only talking, and I understand that. But then you call out other managers for playing people out of position. But certain other players play multiple positions as well, but it seems to be with young managers. Hang on, let me finish my point. I feel like sometimes with young managers, you hate it when they do this, but then an older head does it, and you're like, yeah, but that player's been there before, and that's how it is for most people. I don't have any. Let me finish my point. I don't have any issue with what Carlo Ancelotti has done, but you make sweeping statements that are not accurate. And we've got to go back to the original point here, because it's not really about Ancelotti and Real Madrid. It's you saying Big Sam will make Chelsea a better football team, which I don't personally think is true. I want to go to some of these super chats here because I don't want to miss these. This says, what about Camavinga playing at left back and Valverde right back? That's another example of where it's been done.
He was playing left back because they had no left backs. Yeah, Nacho was injured, mate. Yeah, that's why he played left back. Yeah, and Valverde was at right back because Danny Carvajal was injured. I watch him every week.
They could promote an academy player, couldn't they?
Well, they could, but why would they when they've got quality like that in their team?
That makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Multiple positions players can play. It's not a hipster thing. It's a normal thing. It's happened.
No. It's a plug the gap rather than putting a
used to
team player in. And when you've got that level of experience, that CV, you can.
Was Fergie a hipster manager? Was Fergie a hipster manager?
Fergie had so much credit in the bank before he went to United.
That isn't the question. Was he a hipster manager?
No, he wasn't a hipster manager, but he played players in dodgy positions.
Yeah,
why?
Everyone
because
does.
Because he continually won. When you've got a manager that's continually losing, probably best to go back to basics. Ancelotti's got so much credit in the bank, he can do what he wants at Real Madrid.
Fair enough. Context, Terry. Vinny injured, no Benzema. And I understand the context. I'm just trying to understand
which is why Jude's up front.
The differences. It does. It goes beyond the coach here. Whilst I agree, the coach, we are a mess of a club from top to bottom. I agree. I actually think sacking the manager won't fix anything if the club's being run poorly. Lee spitting facts, 90s and 2000s, best era of football for this very reason. Improvisation and creativity versus systematic robots relying on. That's why I think Fergie's better than Pep as well, by the way. Do you know what it is? Again, this is it's a compliment and also a dig at the same time. I think what Pep has been able to produce is sensational, but I find most games that Pep's teams playing boring because it's so going to be so one-sided. I like football when you had two teams that were brilliant and you were like, damn, I don't know what way this is going. Just in terms of excitement, people say football's entertainment. That was more of an entertaining spectacle than a one-way fight, in my opinion. Chelsea need discipline. Someone like Simeone.
Yep.
Yeah, Lee would advocate that. Lee would advocate that. Lee, Big Sam got Leeds relegated, bro.
What's your point?
Sandy ain't good enough. Sandy ain't good enough. When you deep, it's the Ajax smashed the stadium, got better look than Old Trafford. It's hilarious and also sad. Thank you. We'll come back to the Arsenal stuff. But Super Chats on Arsenal, I'll come back to later. This here says, what would you guys say the vast amount of injuries at all clubs are down to? Is it an abnormal season?
No. I've seen this narrative doing the rounds. Yeah, I've seen this doing the rounds. There was a World Cup in the middle of the season. Yeah, there was all these international games that are just shoehorned in, stupid tournaments like the Nations League and all of that crap. Yeah, constantly playing your best players week in, week out because you haven't done enough as a squad or as a club, to get a squad adequate to rotate your players. That's it. Yeah, Bukayo Saka will get a mad injury at some point. Declan Rice is now injured. He's never been injured before. Why? 55 games last season. Yeah, playing all the internationals. Now he's playing higher level at Arsenal. Yeah, constant. Like people are hyping up because there's been a lot of ACLs. Well, what do you expect? Yeah, when was the last time we actually had a summer without like a major tournament? Yeah, this summer, cool, but we had the World Cup in the middle. Before that, it was the Euros. Yeah, the lockdown, football all over the gaff. For the last 3 years, football's been relentless. Yeah, but if these football clubs did what was required, they could rotate their better players, which means they'd get less injuries. I've said all summer, we're one Declan Rice injury away from capitulation. Well, there we go. Kai Havertz and Jorginho in midfield. Cheers, mate. What do I know?
I hear you on that. I hear you on that. On Arsenal, obviously a disappointing result in the end for you on Sunday. Started well. Spurs got back into the game. What went wrong, in your opinion, on the day for Arsenal?
Arteta. We didn't play our normal game. We allowed them to play their normal game. They come to the Emirates. I put €10 on a 5-2. I've been trolled online left, right, and centre by all these top lily whites. Yeah, that are all jumping up and down. Oh, Lee got a prediction wrong. Yeah, since when do you care? Like, is it that deep? Yeah, why don't you just cheer a draw, mate, instead? Like, I don't get it. Yeah, but they came to the Emirates. They played extremely well. If Maddison didn't go off injured, they probably would have won the game. And we decided to go against everything we've been doing to play a different game. Like for the first half an hour, I thought we were decent. We should have scored 2 or 3 goals. We got the goal, deflected, but still got the goal. Jesus robs Maddison. Probably should have took another touch, buries it, instead of shanks it over the bar. Adoji plays Eddie clean through. He looks up, sees Vieira for a tap in and still takes the shot. Like, what are you doing? That's 2-0, game over. Yeah, or at least it's harder for them to come back. Yeah, we then get the penalty, like, and then 30 seconds later, they score. Again, Jorginho. Yeah, and like the goalkeeper has to look at himself for the first goal, the Son first goal, flapping, punch it, mate. Now, everyone's hyping up this goalkeeper, and I think he's better than Ramsdale, but punch it. Punch it. Punch it out the box. Saka, don't know what he was doing. Maddison's taking the mick out of him, saying, no, he's probably still doing my celebration. Like, do you know what I mean? But he was just ball watching. Saliba was our best player on the day. That tells you all you need to know. Yeah, it was embarrassing. When you're seeing Eddie and Nketiah getting paid £1,000 a minute for 100 minutes, staying on the pitch that long. Martin Odegaard, 18 completed passes the whole time he was on the pitch. 18. I reckon the dog would have completed more passes. 18 passes. That's embarrassing. Captain, oh, I get goosebumps. Leading the team out, singing North London Forever under my breath. Shut up, you little PR muppet. Yeah, last time we see you, mate. Yeah, last time we see you was when you were signing a new bumper deal. We ain't seen you since. Ghosted. Maddison showed him levels at the weekend. Levels. And do you know what's crazy, yeah? Maddison and Son both run their gums all week, which is why I predicted 5-2. I was like, yeah, we're going to put this lot in the bin. Yeah, I never gamble. I don't gamble. My mate said, do you want 60-1 on that? I said, put it on. Never again. Yeah, we sub off at half-time Fabio Vieira. What did he do so bad that he had to get taken off? Cool, Declan Rice got injured. El Nenny's not played for 9 months.
You said Rice would get injured this season, didn't you?
I did say get well, Terry. It's almost like I can see what's going to happen, isn't it? Yeah, because I'm not clouded, yeah, by delusion. Yeah, I'm not clouded. And I said we are one Declan Rice injury away from a double pivot of Havertz and Jorginho. Prime 2019-20 Chelsea. In fact, Havertz never played midfield for Chelsea. Yeah, it's embarrassing. And then you've got Odegaard, ghost in the second half. Yeah, we bring Reece Nelson on. We're like, right, cool, Reece is coming on. Bit of injection of pace, good crosser, blah, blah, blah. Right, it's got to be Eddie. And we see Jesus going off. Like, what are you doing, mate? Yeah, Smith Rowe, he gave him 3 minutes, 51 seconds into stoppage time of 10 minutes start. He brought him on in the 6th minute of stoppage time. You are taking the mick, mate. If I'm Smith Rowe, I'm on the phone to my agent saying, get me out of it. Get me out of it. Yeah, embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Yeah, and I was super hyped, super confident, based off of previous against that lot, based off of beating PSV 4-0, based off of the way we played with pace, like quick one-touch passing. And we totally changed our game for Tottenham. Like, why? We were pressing, making them make mistakes. And then as soon as we got the goal, we missed a couple of chances. Okay, cool, retreat. They didn't equalise. Second half, I see Havertz and Jorginho coming on. And I was like this in my chair. I was like that. Yeah, and I said to the lads on the watch-along, I said, that's the end of that. Wouldn't surprise me if we lost. Half-time, my vibe was done. Yeah, and that was the same vibe in the ground. That was probably the same vibe with the rest of the team. Yeah, and there was only one team that looked like winning it. Yeah, embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. But Terry, I've been telling you this for 4 years, mate. Yeah, I didn't want the manager. Last year was an anomaly. Yeah, this year, yeah, all of a sudden we've got Champions League football. You can't rotate your players. You have to play your best players. One game deep, and now we've got injuries. Who knew? Maybe do more in the transfer window instead of gnawing off a 9 out of 10 window when it's a 4. Like, come on. Yeah, we needed a striker. Oh, we still need a striker. Now all these idiots are sat online going, oh, maybe Eddie's not the guy. How did he stay on for so long? He stayed on and got the contract, mate, because you lot absolutely had pants down because he did this at Stamford Bridge on the corner flag and give it that. And scored 5 goals that took us from 4th to 5th. Yeah? Oh, El Nenny's on the bench. Why? Tomiyasu. Why? Cedric Suarez. Why? Oh, mate, our squad's amazing. Calling to this guy, so mate, yeah, reality check's coming this season, mate. He's either leaving or getting sacked by the end of it. Yeah, and I'll tell you something now. I'll tell you something right now, yeah? We're playing Man City in a couple of weeks. Yeah, literally, 10, 12 days, whatever it is. This lot were jumping up and down. Oh, Rodri's suspended. Yeah, how's that going, mate? Yeah, they've lost Mahrez, Laporte, what's his name? Gundogan, Cancelo. They've then got KDB out injured on a long-term injury. Bernardo's been out. Grealish has been out. Who else they had out injured? John Stones has been out. And the result is 6 wins out of 6, 3 goals conceded, second best strike force in the league. Only Brighton have scored more. Yeah, this lot are giving it the Bertie after we smashed up MLS All-Stars. Oh, we've bridged the gap. They're weaker. Turn it in. They'll piss the title. Yeah, like I told you they would, because we didn't do what was required in the summer window. And you lot that have all been lying for 4 years, yeah, that all walked out against Brighton last season, yeah, guess what? The worm is turning, mate. The worm is turning. Yeah, worm is turning. Yeah, Jorginho and Havertz and Odegaard as a triple in midfield. Oh, my days. Yeah, that has got to be the most unbalanced and weakest trio in Premier League. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. The worm's turning, mate. Trust me, this lot have got a reality check this season, yeah? And that manager sat there at the end of the season, yeah, and I don't think he was doing it as PR, because I do actually think he cares. Yeah, that's one thing I've always said. He actually cares, but he's overthinking it, right? And he's gone away from what he got us in a title race for 93% of the season for, because now he's overthinking it, going, oh, well, let's just be a little bit slower and let's just control the games. You're giving it, oh, Arsenal is scarier. No, they're not. They're crap. The bench is crap. Well, let me tell you this right now. We get rid of Granit Xhaka. We're bringing Declan Rice. We're bringing Declan Rice for what I thought Declan Rice was coming in for, was to replace Granit Xhaka. Instead, he's replacing Thomas Partey. Cool. Sideways and backwards. That's all he does. Keep the ball turning over. Cool. I ain't got no problem with Declan Rice, but he's not front-footed. Why? Because he's being played in a different position to where I thought, and most Arsenal fans thought he was going to play. Right?
Can I just say on that though, just at that point? Partey's been out injured, so we there is no proof of that yet. Where that would make sense, and look, I always knew Gabriel would come back into your team when Partey's back fit. If suddenly Gabriel's back out the team, and Partey's back at right back, and Rice stays where he is now, then I'll say, yeah, fair enough. I think this is the thing when you're only 6 games in, and Partey's been missing now for 4 games. You don't have any proof of it. I guess your theory, but you don't know that to be true just yet. I would say wait for Partey to come back and see what happens.
Yeah, and then he's going AFCON. Good one. Yeah, come on, Tel.
But that's nothing to do with Arteta if he's not available.
No, well, it is to do with Arteta if he's not available, because he's playing him in an unnatural position. And then he's sitting in a press conference giving it, oh, I'm not the guy who invented this. Simeone played him at right back. He's played 188 times for Atletico Madrid. He's played 11 times at right back. So what's he waffling about? When the journalists call this crap out, they don't. Oh, yes, Mikel. No, Mikel. You taste lovely, Mikel. 188 games for Atleti, 11 at right back. And he's given it, I didn't invent him at right back. Simeone did. Then you've got Fabio Vieira, who comes off the bench against Fulham, puts in a great display off the bench. Yeah, he then comes off the bench against Man United, sets up Jesus' 3rd goal. Yeah, the Arsenal 3rd goal. He then plays well against Everton. He then gets hooked at half time. Why? You got Timber playing at left back when he's never played left back barely ever in his career. Yeah, now out injured. Why? Because it's unnatural. You're asking a 31-year-old Thomas Partey or 30-year-old Thomas Partey to go up and down the wing. Mate, a central defensive midfielder or a box-to-box midfielder is doing less donkey work up and down than somebody going up and down a wing. Less bursts of pace, less use of your legs, and you're going to pull less muscles running around in midfield than you are sprinting down the wing after a nippy winger. Play him at right back. Why? Because we didn't have Zinchenko, so now he can invert. He's more comfortable. Get in the bin, man. Yeah, and then that £65 million German lurch. Yeah, all that's missing is the bolts in his neck, walking around eating Skittles. What is that guy doing? What is he doing? He's going to die on that hill. I told you this when we signed him. He will die on that Havertz hill. Eddie and Nketiah, 100 grand a week. Our fans were lording it up. Now they're all like, oh, yeah. Reece Nelson. Oh, bring Reece on. Yeah. Bring him on for what? Bring him on for Jesus. Embarrassing. 100 grand a week he's on. 5 million quid cash in your bank account as a signing on fee when you are out of contract, my friend. Yeah. 5 million. It's embarrassing, mate. I looked at the bench at the weekend. Kivior. Mate, his wife's more famous for twerking than he is. Last time he played a game, he was tying his shoelaces up. Yeah, as they were scoring. Pathetic. Tomiyasu. Oh, he wins headers. Well, I'd expect him to. He's 6'3". Yeah, bang average. Yeah, it's embarrassing, Terry. We got rid of a goalkeeper and replaced him with a goalkeeper. Cool. Mad upgrade. I'm cool with that. Right? We get rid of Granit Xhaka and replace him with Declan Rice. Again, you could argue either way. There's a lot of Granit Xhaka fans out there. I think that's an upgrade, right? We then get rid of Yeah, we then get rid of Kieran Tierney on loan for Timber. He gets injured straight away, so we can't count him, can we? But it's still 3 out, 3 in, yeah? The only addition to that squad in terms of squad depth that this Muppet fan base have been waffling, oh, we got squad depth now, is Kai Havertz. And the problem with this fan base is they have, oh, yeah, but he's versatile. So what they do is they put one player in 3 different positions on their little map, yeah, on their little pitch. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you get 3 or 4 injuries, and all of a sudden you ain't got squad depth anymore. Stop being idiots and putting this player in 3 positions and this player in 3 positions. Oh, and he can play hybrid, and then get in the bin, man. Let's not watch a game with a calculator and a spreadsheet. Yeah, it's pathetic. Yeah, this squad is bang average. Yeah, the first 11 on paper looks great. That squad is a joke, mate. That bench, Reece Nelson, Tommy Asu, Fabio Vieira, Eddie Nketiah, yeah, Kivior, El Neni, Jorginho, Havertz. Yeah, embarrassing. 650 million deep, tell. And that's what we've got. And we still ain't even got a striker that can finish his dinner. Mad. Actually mad. Rant over. Clip that, KJ.
I'm going to go to some...
Lee, epic rant. Yeah, Lee's scared.
This here from Daryl Williams says, Arteta waffles more than Belgium.
Big up Daryl, man.
Spurs Talk Show says, most Arsenal fans think last season was their new normal. It was an anomaly. No title challenge, just a good chance of Champions League along with Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle, Liverpool, and maybe United. Gravity is what he said. Do you agree with this from a Spurs fan?
Yep. Because the thing is, this fan base have gassed up every single player in our squad. Yeah, and now they're all worried. Oh, we've got injuries. Why? Why are you worried? Why are you worried? You lot gave Eddie Nketiah a new contract, mate. Hyping up going from 4th to 5th because he scored 5 goals that took us from 4th to 5th. And did that against Chelsea at the Bridge. Oh, give him £100 a week. Yeah, and now you're all sitting there online questioning Eddie Nketiah's capabilities. Yeah, blame yourselves. Back your boy, mate. Back your boy.
Arsenal to our die says, once the window ended, wasn't surprised. I knew once the board got Champions League football, they would take the foot off the gas. Gross negligence in midfield and defence for years.
Fact, we've got 7 defenders, mate. 7.
Mang here says, is it possible to get both Lee and Henry on one time together? Yeah, we can work that out. Get Henry right on with Lee Gunner on a straight facts.
They don't rate Odegaard either, and he's Norwegian. He don't even know why he's Norway yet. Come on, big up the real ones.
Fifth season under Arteta, and our fan base online are hoping we get knocked out of the League Cup when are people allowed to demand trophies. Are Arsenal fans really asking to go out of the League Cup? No.
Yep.
No.
Mate, the Superfan channel owner told us last season, Terry. Yeah, but I'm not expecting them to be doing any content for the game, by the way. Yeah, because the League Cup is beneath us. It's beneath a club like Arsenal, said the Superfan channel owner. So I don't expect to see him doing a watch-along preview.
Superfan channel owner? Who's that?
Yeah, the Superfan channel owner. Yeah, he stood there last season with chest and said the League Cup is beneath a club like Arsenal. Bigger fish to fry. It was all in our hands. So cool. I don't expect you to see any content from that channel in the next couple of days. Because it's beneath. I don't expect to see any of them at the game. Yeah, because it's beneath a club like Arsenal. Yeah, I don't expect to see them there. Yeah, but Arsenal fans online are saying throw the cup in the bin. This is what they do. Like, we're that arrogant because we're so good and we win stuff every year that we can just go, throw that in the bin, mate. Yeah, this fan base, yeah, is a reflection of the hierarchy at this club and vice versa. They're happy with Champions League football, and that is it. And if we nick the odd cup and beat Tottenham and beat United and can put Chelsea in the mud, yeah, they're happy because they got online bragging rights. It is a disgrace. Yeah, and people like me are seen as negative and toxic. Yeah, well, let me tell you right now, yeah, I want my football club to win. I've seen my football club win 17 trophies. I'm not including that stupid plate or the dog either. 17 trophies I've seen my club win in 35 years. That's one every 2 years. This guy's now got us on the longest trophy drought for a decade. Yeah, cool. You better win something, mate. Yeah, and if you throw that cup away, and I'll tell you now, we're losing to Brentford tomorrow because he will play Ramsdale in goal. Cool. Ramsdale's not a bad goalkeeper. He's exceeded everyone's expectations. I've not got an issue with him. Yeah, he's exceeded expectations. We all thought he was trash. He ain't trash. He's all right, but he's not as good as Raya. He'll play Tomiyasu. El Neni will get a game. Jorginho will get a game. Smith Rowe will get a game. Nelson will get a game. Eddie will probably get a game. Kivior will get a game. We know what's coming. We know what's coming. We're getting knocked out. And I'll be shocked if we go through. And then it'll be, it don't matter. We've got bigger fish to fry, mate. This lot never learn. Never learn. How are you that cocky and can throw a cup away? Pathetic.
I hear where listen. I get where you're coming from. This here says breaking news. Next to Partey, Timber, Martinelli, Rice, and Trossard, Saka is now injured and is likely to not likely to feature at Bournemouth on the weekend. This is worrying. That is a pretty hefty injury list.
You overplayed a guy, mate. Yeah, not like I've been calling for a right winger to come into the club, is it? Not like I've been calling for him to be dropped. But he got 2G, got 2 GA at the weekend. Yeah, watch when the GA dries up, mate, and then he does a mad injury. Because that guy is literally, when people talk about red zone and all of that, I'm telling you, that guy, and I touch wood, and God forbid, I hope he don't get a mad injury. Yeah, I hope he don't. Yeah, but he is very, very close, and it's very troubling. Yeah, but he's the only player, like you said last week, everyone's like droppable. He's the only one in the squad that is not droppable because he plays him every week.
If we only could sack Lee as a gunner supporter, is what Kevin L says here.
Yeah. If only there was maybe even 10% of Arsenal fans online with my attitude, mate, we might actually win stuff. Yeah, unfortunately, you lot get sucked in by a dog and a plate and PR and best looking Spaniard we know. Like, come on, turn it in. Don't see this at any other foreign club around the world, mate. Got
Albert
up stadiums and on the megaphone holding their players accountable.
Alberto here says we needed to be more ruthless this past transfer window. Half of the bench players we have right now. I wanted us to sell. North London derby result not acceptable.
Facts.
Excuse me. Sorry. This here says Lee Maddison or Odegaard. Who's better?
Well, uncomfortable conversations, isn't it? Yeah. I got told he couldn't press. Yeah. Well, he pressed Jorginho pretty well for the goal. Got told he couldn't press. He can't press. Can't press, mate. Yeah, there's a way you could get them both in the team. You could play one at number 8 and one at number 10. Yeah, but for me, I've wanted Maddison at Arsenal for years, mate. What a footballer. Yeah, that guy turns up. Even in a dead Leicester team, is their best player. And this is what comes back to COLWILL earlier. Even in a dead team that got relegated, he was still the best player. And he turned up week in, week out. Yeah, and he was the one that walked off the pitch and you go, do you know what? He played well today. Yeah, Maddison all day long, mate. Yeah, Gibraltar disappears in way too many big games. Stat pads against Dross. Yeah, scored the odd goal against Man United or Tottenham and everyone gets hype. Maddison all day long, mate.
This here from Harrison. He says, Lee, I got into an argument with my friend. I told him that Odegaard disappears in every important game for Arsenal. For example, the Everton loss last year and the Southampton draw, to name a few. Do you agree?
Yep. The Everton loss last season, Tarkowski pushed him out the way and won the header 1-0. Come on. Yeah, every big game. He is literally like Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, disappears in the big games away from home. Yeah, even the big games at home at times. Yeah, embarrassing. Yeah, listen, when you play to his strengths, he's a good footballer. But I had this conversation with Rance before we came on here. He is literally Ozil Mark II. Yeah, with shooting. He'll shoot and he'll score. Fantastic. He'll get more goals than Ozil will. But when it really matters and the chips are down, that guy disappears, mate. 18 completed passes in the North London derby. Jesus Christ on a bike.
Big Ange, who's a Spurs fan, says Woolwich should have had a red card for a very dangerous tackle on the keeper. Do you think Nketiah was lucky not to see red for that tackle?
Yep. If he connects with that guy's career's finished. That would have been one of the nastiest leg breaks you'll ever see, mate. Yeah, and he'd never recover from that. Horrible. Yeah, very, very lucky.
This here says, so Terry, are Arsenal scary or is it Tottenham?
No, League Gunner's scary.
I don't take back what I've said about Arsenal. I still think they're a force to be reckoned with that's going to keep getting better. Spurs, listen, I think they've started impeccably well.
Spurs have surprised me, I can't lie. I've watched a bit of them, but they played very well.
Yeah, they've looked good, but I would say this. I've seen Everton get 2 new managers in the past. One was Roberto Martinez, one was Ancelotti. And in the first 6-7 games, they looked like they could go on, maybe even win the league, and they petered out. I've seen Spurs so many times in my lifetime start seasons well, or get new manager bounce, or have a player that breaks through that everyone thinks is going to change their fortunes. It's about the way that club is run. So I think football-wise, stylistically, I think they'll play good football under Big Ange. Whether or not they scare me to a point where I think they can compete with my club regularly for trophies and stop us, I don't believe that yet. So it isn't just about how good a team looks on the pitch. It's what I think the overall club will do. Often people say, why don't you speak about how scary City and Liverpool are? Been saying that 5 years ago. Nothing's changed. They're already scary. They're already there. It's just when someone new turns up. So yeah, I hear you on that. This here says, big up to the both of you, my personal football YouTube world goats. Thank you. Love this show. And Lee, thank you for keeping the standards.
Mate, listen, there's a lot of people out there, Terry. I don't know how many people are watching, but there's a lot of Arsenal fans out there with the same mindset as me. The difference is I put my face on camera every day, and some of these guys don't have the traction, and that's not their fault. Yeah, but it's like, like somebody like Northside, for example. Oh, you're the Portuguese, Lee Gunner. Yeah, then you got Brandon. Oh, you're Lee Gunner's son. Yeah, it's like you're branded as Lee Gunner mini-me. Yeah, no, there is thousands upon thousands of Arsenal fans out there that can't take this manager and what's going on at this club. Yeah, I'm the alternative to all this BS PR crap from all these other channels, which is why I get so many people watching it. And people go, oh, you twerk for rivals. Yeah, our rivals watch it. Our rivals are watching you. You're a Man United fan. I'm an Arsenal fan. How many Spurs fans are in it? How many Liverpool fans? Like, there's loads of fans.
John Bay is a Liverpool fan. He says here, I'm 45 and you are both younger than me, but this young fan standard's driving me crazy, especially Liverpool, United and Arsenal fans. At least Chelsea and City new. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, the newer fan base. The Kumbaya singers will blame injuries, but remember, this is the geezer that played Thomas Partey at right back before he was injured. Piss take.
That's what I'm saying. There's loads of Arsenal fans out there. Terry, I said this to you last season. Yeah, our greatest season for 7 years. We're back in the Champions League. Goosebumps under the lights at the carpet. Yeah. 30,000 fans walked out when Brighton scored their second goal. They're faking it, mate. Yeah, and this season is the unraveling of their fakeness. Yeah, they're all going to show their true colours. Because you know what's crazy? They've all hyped up Aaron Ramsdale. Oh, he's the third best keeper in the league. Now we've signed Raya. All of a sudden, Ramsdale, he's not very good composure-wise. He can't catch a ball. He don't dominate. He's not very good kicker. So now their true colours come out. Well, I've been saying that since he got here. But I'm negative. Just back him. Trust the process. But now, as soon as something comes to light, i.e. a new goalkeeper, now their true colours come out. This lot are a bunch of fakers, mate. Yeah? And I can sleep so nice at night knowing I speak the truth every day. Yeah, it's my truth. People might not like it, but I say what I want and what I feel. And I sometimes get it wrong. With Ramsdale, by the way, I said he will never amount to anything. He's actually surpassed all expectations. Yeah, the manager ain't. Yeah, I'm still right on the manager.
I hear you, bro. Solomon here says Lee, I can't pronounce are shit, and the Saudi league, contrary to your opinion, is not the most competitive league in the world.
Well, it is though, isn't it? Go and have a look at the front three, of Al Ahly. Yeah, it's better than most front threes in the Premier League. St. Maximin, Firmino, and Mahrez. Gabby Baker and Kessie in midfield.
I get what you mean by competitive, because there's an argument to say the Championship's more competitive than the Premier League, because what you mean, but the quality isn't as good in the Saudi League as the Premier League, would you say? But
the entertainment's hilarious. It's great. 7-goal thriller the other night on the watch along. Yeah, Ronaldo. I wanted to see that guy get in tears, and I was in tears because he scored twice.
Killing it, isn't he? He's the best performing player in the most competitive league. That shows how good he is, doesn't he?
Fair, I do actually think that is the most competitive in terms. But people take it out of context. It's the most competitive in terms of they're trying to win it. Yeah, Al Ittihad.
Well, I think, there's loads of, again, I think why it'll also appear competitive. And again, it may level out, But because they all those teams have so many top players each, it's like, I don't know who's going to win. Therefore, it's really competitive. Where in the Premier League, I think we know who the best is. We know who the worst is. So we already kind of know how things are going to play out to a degree.
They're all trying to go above and beyond the Call of Duty to try and actually get over Al Ittihad. Yeah,
I've got a mate who only started watching MMA and UFC like 5 months ago. All fights in the UFC could go anywhere at any moment because of how thin the gloves are and everything else. But generally speaking, still the favorites win, right? But because he doesn't know anything about the game yet, the fight game yet, doesn't know anything about MMA yet, really, it's ultra competitive for him because he has no idea who's going to win each fight. So sometimes when you're new to a league or new to a brand new sport, it is more fun than when you almost know exactly what's going to happen.
And they have a water break in the Saudi league as well. So there's always 13, 14 minutes stoppage time in the second half.
There you go. Yeah. I think Ronaldo's killing it this year. I read somewhere about
he's smashing it, mate. Like, he's killing it this season. But do you know what? Yeah, his first goal should have been disallowed. Yeah, like I said about Ajax with the flares on the pitch. Yeah, how Mendy couldn't see the ball. That should have been stopped. But do you know what? I get why it weren't, because it was the Al Ahly fans that threw the flare on the pitch. So tough. You cost your goal. You cost your goalkeeper.
What we've all heard from Lee today, people, and you make sure you click this up, is that a 38-year-old that he has said isn't even in the top 50 players of all time, 38 years of age, has 15 goals in 14 games in the most competitive league in the world, according to League Gunner. Remember that.
There's not been 14 games this season.
He's played 14 games for that team this year because they had a cup competition as well, didn't they?
Cups. Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, sorry,
cups as well. Yeah. So
he actually won a cup. He scored twice.
15 goals in 14 games by a 38-year-old in the most competitive league in the world, League Gunner has just told us. Go.
It is the most competitive league in the world right now. Yeah, in terms of they're all having a go. Are Arsenal having a go? No. Did the bare minimum. Are United having a go? No. They're all just.
I hear you, mate. I do not understand why Martin is captain of Arsenal and Norway. He's too quiet for me. I like Keane, Adams, etc. I still think Declan Rice will take that armband from him.
And there you go. This guy, big up to you, Magna. Yeah, this guy watches me all the time, relentlessly. Big ups, real one from day one. Yeah, nearly 5 years. This guy is Norwegian and doesn't understand why Martin Odegaard is captain of Norway, his home country. Yeah, but I'm some like weird guy, and you're a hater. Oh, you're a hater. He's world class. No, he's not. He's waving at me on Gibraltar Rock, mate. Disappeared. 18 completed passes in the NLD. Do me a favour. Get in the bin.
This next question is going to kill you, Lee. If you had to choose, keep Arteta or get Ten Hag.
It's a mid-off, isn't it?
All right, let me ask you this question. Let me change the question slightly. You've only got a choice of 3 managers to come in there and take your team forward. Keep Arteta, bring in Ten Hag, or your favourite, or Big Sam. Yeah, or Big Sam.
I knew you were going to say Big Sam. Big Sam. No, to be fair, out of the two, I'm not gonna be a dickhead with it. Out of the two, Arteta. Because before this season started, at least I could see what he was trying to do. I can't see what Ten Hag's doing, mate.
Yeah, I get you. Listen, I think that's a fair bit of analysis. I wanted to ask you, because I've been meaning to talk about them for the last couple of days, and the shows have always run out of time. You're someone who predicted... No, I don't think it is. You're someone who predicted Klopp being sort of done at Liverpool. They're 18 games unbeaten. They're second in the league. Do you think they're in the title race, or do you think that there's an element here of waiting until they've played a few more teams? Or do you think they've actually been a lot better than most of us expected them to be this year?
I think they've had a fairly comfortable start. I don't think they've been great. I don't think any team's been great, if I'm honest. I don't think Man City have been great, but they've won 6 out of 6. I don't think Spurs have been great. They're unbeaten. I don't think we've been great. We're unbeaten. So it's been a bit of a weird start to the season. But once they go deeper in that Europa League, that'll kill them off. That'll kill them off. Yeah, that'll kill them off. Man City are then going to get their players back. Yeah, Jack Grealish has come back. Bernardo will be back soon. John Stones is back. Like, Doku's a revelation. Like, that guy is insane. Bro, 8th of October, pray for Ben White. Yeah, and I'll tell you now, like, very quickly swerving, if I'm Pep Guardiola, I am putting Doku on Zinchenko's side.
I get why you would do that. I get why you would do it.
Because now he can't leave that left back spot. And if he does, it's a mazza. Yeah, it is a mazza. Yeah, but coming back to Liverpool, I think their firepower is insane. Their bench at the weekend was ridiculous. Like their bench, like strike force, was better than most strike forces in the league. Just their bench. Yeah, Nunez's goal at the weekend, class. Yeah, Salah's been brilliant this season so far. They've started really, really well. But where I have a doubt about Liverpool is their defence. Yeah, their defenders are always injured. Like not the fullbacks, but the centre backs. They're always injured. Van Dijk's not the same guy anymore. Kanate's always injured. Matip's not the guy. Like that'd be their undoing. And I think when you look at Man City in comparison, they're solid. Even when they got battered in that second half by Forest, they never looked like conceding a goal. So,
I hear you, bro. I think attacking wise, they're going to score lots of goals. The midfield, we haven't seen them against enough of the big teams yet and the better teams. We haven't seen them away against, but Brighton's, Brentford's. We haven't seen them play City. They've got Tottenham coming. That's going to be an acid test I want to see. But for me, this Liverpool team guaranteed top. As far as now is concerned, they're going to get top four. They're going to get Champions League football. I just think they still concede too many. Even against West Ham at the weekend, they won well 3-1. But again, it's every game, too many gilt-edged chances they're conceding. That won't impact their top four ability. It will stop them from winning the league. But I think Liverpool have been so much better than anybody expected. And this unbeaten run keeps going. It's 18 games now. That is fairly significant. And I think they look good. What's interesting is it's just actually been revealed now in the Daily Mail that they tried to sign Amrabat. And Amrabat's team said, look, right near the end of the window, we want to delay it by another 24 hours. And in the end, Liverpool said, right, we'll go and get Gravenberch then. Because obviously Amrabat was waiting for Man United. So they were after a DM of that kind of...
Back at Liverpool.
Imagine he starts left back tomorrow. I'll actually be so gutted. I really want to see him in midfield. Tonight, sorry. Yes, it's tonight Man United play. Sorry, my apologies. I'm actually looking forward to it, defending our trophy. It should be fun. But yeah, look, I think for me, Liverpool really good. Really, really good so far. And it's hard though, because I feel like I'm being harsh on Liverpool. But because of where they were for so many years with Klopp, challenging for titles, winning titles, them just being a top four team, I don't pay it too much attention because I feel like that's bare minimum where I expect you to be with the manager of your quality and the money that you spent on your squad over the years. I don't feel like you being back in the top four is an achievement based on the standards that have been reset at Liverpool over the past.
Yeah, but they haven't upheld them standards. No club in the league has upheld the standards.
I hear you. No, I hear you that they dropped off a little bit, but I still look at it as that. I look at Liverpool and think to myself, they go out in January and they say they find themselves a top class GM or a brilliant centre back that can come in. If they're only a handful of points away from City at that point, and they go out and improve themselves defensively, then they might go on to that next level and maybe still win this league. City might have a drop off. Who knows? But right now, I think you've said I can't see anybody else winning this title other than Man City because I don't even think they haven't hit top gear yet. But they also haven't done what they normally do at the beginning of the season and drop a handful of points. Yep. So if they don't give anybody a point advantage and they come into their best in the second half of the season, it's going to be nigh impossible for anybody.
Did you see their bench at the weekend? Yeah, they had Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis, Nathan Ake, Grealish, 2 goalkeepers. Bro, this myth about Man City's squad is exactly that. It's a myth. Yeah, it's a myth. Yeah, yes, they've got a few players out injured. Yeah, but they're not going to go invincible, in my opinion. Yeah, listen, it'd be crazy if they did, but I don't think they will. Yeah, but they will win the league comfortably.
This year about Liverpool says they struggled against Leicester. They didn't struggle against Leicester. They conceded a screamer early, and then they missed 3 or 4 sitters before half time. And in the second half, they scored 3 goals. Performance-wise, that was a 5-6-7-1 game to Liverpool.
To bring the big boys on, man.
Yeah, to put the ball in the back of the net. But in terms of performance, I watched it, and I saw people online bantering them, and I was like, why is everyone getting gassed? They're going to win. It was always going to happen. It didn't feel... Yeah, do you get what... There's sometimes...
I thought Lusk was a clothing brand.
Yeah, it's true.
Somebody replied, saying the prick in the nick. Yeah, would have put it on a Fruit of the Loom t-shirt. Oh my dude, mate, that's the funniest comment I've ever seen on social media, mate. I can't lie.
Mate, I forgot about Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah, Fruit of the Loom. That was a big thing back in our era.
Mate, Fruit of the Loom t-shirts for a while was seen as like decent brand to wear. There was also, do you remember Spliffy jackets?
Yeah.
So like bomber jackets with Spliffy on the back.
Yeah.
Do you remember record bags?
Yeah. I had a record bag.
Do you know what's amazing about record bags? So there's an Indian Sikh guy. His name is Jaz Sembi. I know him because I used to be his business manager at Barclays. And when I met him, he's very lucrative leather bags he used to make. And they're only sold in like 3 department stores around the world. Cheapest bag he sells is like 500, 800 quid. Between 500 to 800 pounds the range, sorry. Cheapest one's like 500 pounds. Anyway, when I met him, I was chatting to him. And he said, do you know? I said, how'd you get started in the sort of the bag industry, fashion industry and whatever else? And he said, well, he goes, do you remember, how old are you? At the time, I must have been about 24. So about 24, he went, it would have been your era then. Do you remember record bags? I went, yeah, we all had them. He said, I started that trend. It was in Walthamstow Market. I started selling record bags. I got hold of all these record bags and everyone's like, well, no one wants them. And then we just basically made them fashionable through like selling them to kids. And before we know it, we had 3-4 stalls in that market. And then we had stalls all over London. And then everyone was buying their record bags of us in stores. So the guy that started that is a guy called Jaz Emby, a really good guy.
Look at the comments, man. Naff jacket, Naff.
Yeah, Naff,
Ben Sherman.
Joe Blogs, Ben Sherman, Naff. What, do you remember as well? There was a tracksuit bottoms you could get. And again, no one was wearing that. I think they were called, it was like called Jorginho or something like this. And it wasn't George. And again, it was a brand that everyone would wear and you wouldn't be teased for wearing it.
Remember back in the day, yeah? Gola. If you wore Gola trainers, you'd get beaten up at school. Yeah?
Gola or
how much they are a pair of trainers now? They're about 100 quid a pair.
Bruv, there was 3 types of trainers you could wear at my school. Gola, High-Tech, Dunlop. If you wore any of those 3... Oh, do you know what was mad as well? At my school as well? Converse. When I was a kid, if you wore Converse, you get battered. You get battered. What was mad is that, do you know what was also popular? It must have been the same era. I went through a period as well where if you wore red, blue, or yellow or green Diodora Astro boots as like normal trainers, it was like, look, bro, look at your trainers. The mad stuff we used to wear.
Back in the day, yeah, Fila, yeah, and is it Elise? How'd you say Elise? Yeah, they were the brands, yeah. It was like, yeah, I've got Fila trainers in it. Like, I'm the guy.
My brother, do you remember LA Gear? LA Gear for a while was a brand. Do you know what it was?
Reebok pumps. I had the Reebok pumps as well.
Reebok pumps are good, bro. But this is the thing. Now they're looked at as chav shoes, but there was a while.
And the kickers as well. You used to get the little thing that hangs off of them.
Kicker shoes were good, but bro, they're now considered Reebok classics. There was a time where they were. If you didn't have Reebok classics, you were bullied. You were bullied. You didn't wear Reebok classics. They were very fashionable. And then Adidas Galaxies were a big one as well. But that's the last time I was into trainers. And now, like, people mention the names of trainers now.
That's a bad one, Kappa. I remember I was in design tech, right? We used to call this guy Teabag, right? And it's mad, right? I can say it now, years later. His name was Chris Slater. He was our design tech teacher, yeah? But he had a birthmark on his neck. So some kid called him Teabag. So it looks like, you know, when you put the tea bag out the cup? Yeah, right? So check this, right? Tundi, big up Tundi. Yeah? I know he watches my streams. Yeah, he was from Mane. Right? He got expelled on the first day. He beat him up. He beat the teacher up on the first day. Right? But he's coming to class, yeah? Right? And we're all in our kappa jackets and all that. But the teacher's out the class and we're all having a clay fight. We're all throwing clay at each other. And Chris Slater comes back in, yeah, kicks off, and Tundi just picks this teacher up one hand. Yeah, he was a big lad. Yeah, we called him. Who was the other guy? Doughboy. Michael something, I can't remember his name. He was a big lad, yeah. And they both picked him up one hand, yeah. Battered the teacher, mate. Got expelled. Like, we were like 14, man. Like,
bro, do you know, mate. My school had mad. When I remember twice, we had like classrooms got shut down. Armed police turning up, searching lockers for guns and knives and stuff was crazy. But one of the maddest days at school ever. There was just like in the geography department. It was almost like there was like a mini staff room up there. And all the geography was on one side and history was the other. And there was a mini staff room in the middle. Yeah. And we were in class one day. And suddenly this teacher, I want to say his name was Mr. Thompson. And we just started hearing, it wasn't coughing, it was like choking. Like this. He was like struggling. And then another teacher, Miss Carter was her name. She was a geography teacher. She's like screaming, oh my God, what's going on, right? This man couldn't breathe, right? couldn't breathe. Face was all going funny colour. I remember being kids, we're like, fucking hell, ambulance got called. Everyone's like, what's going on? And the police were there. Fucking hell. Turned out some kid, I'm not going to name him because I don't know if he ever got in trouble for this. We knew he did it. I'm not going to say his name in case, right? But I can't. I mean, this is attempted murder, in my opinion. He went to the science lab and nicked hydrochloric acid and put it into the kettle. So when they added water to it and they made tea, somebody drunk a mouthful of hydrochloric acid and was all choking and shit. And I remember sitting there thinking, rah, this school is mad. We had metal detectors on our doors. My school was crazy.
Right, I went to the biggest secondary school in the UK at the time, Stantonbury in Milton Keynes, right? And again, teabag. Right, you remember them bouncy balls? They're little rubber balls, but you drop them and they bounce right up in the air. Like, do you remember them? Tiny little ball, and you just let it go out your hand and it just bounce all the way up in the air. So we had a theatre, we had the athletics track, we had everything, like 7 halls, like canteen, everything, load of shops. And I said to my pal, I said, do you reckon I could hit teabag on the back of the head with this bouncy ball? And I'm literally 50 meters away from him. He's walking under the underpass of the theatre. Bro, I swear down, I spanked him straight in the back of the head. He dropped. I'm in the toilets. What was her name? Melanie Siddell. She was the head of the hall or the head of the year or whatever. And Pat Skipper, she was a Norwich fan. Yeah, she flipping loved me. Yeah, well, I get sent to Pat Skipper, bro. It's just like, yo, let's talk about football. Yeah, and it's like, oh, why are you here? Right? But I was hiding in the toilets. Yeah, Melanie Siddell comes in the toilets. We called our teachers by their first name. Yeah, in that school. Yeah, I know you're in there. I know you threw them, mate. I got so much crap. Then check this. Yeah. We had another teacher. She was beautiful, like super young as well. Sarah, science teacher. Right. When I left, I left school, and I don't know how many years later, maybe 8 years later. Yeah, this is tragic, by the way. Yeah, she was absolutely beautiful, man. Like, we all used to sneak, because we'd have our science class here with Steve. Yeah, some big guy. Yeah, like, I'm Steve. And then Sarah's class was there, so we'd all open the double doors and sneak into Sarah's class. Yeah. When I left school, it was maybe 8 years later, somebody threw acid over, like, you do the Bunsen burner and all of that in class, with the acid or whatever it was.
Magnesium, and
somebody threw it in her face, mate. Horrible, man. Absolutely disgusting.
Mate, shit like that's crazy. It's crazy, man. But I wasn't like horrible naughty at school. I just always had bad luck. Like, we were playing. They used to play like dodgeball, right? I was in PE lesson. And someone had a bright idea, like one of the other kids, I was a friend of mine, they basically grabbed a few basketballs and put them in the mix as well. You don't need a basketball being thrown or booted at you during like dodgeball, because it's going to hurt, right? The dodgeball balls, they usually a little bit softer. Anyway, we all started throwing at each other, right? Because it is what it is. And there's a prefect in there, his name was Sam, and he was a nice kid, bit of a geek. And the teacher started shouting at us all, saying, right, you guys stop throwing that hard ball around, you're going to get thrown out. And the ball got thrown to me, and for whatever reason, I caught it. And then the PE teacher said, like, blew his whistle. Like, he blew the whistle and said, right, I told you, Terry, you're done. Get out of here. Go back to the changing room. I went, sir, I was just catching it. Like, I wasn't throwing it. Like, let me stay. He said, no, you got to go. And I just lost my temper because I got bad temper. And I went to just boot the ball far, right? So like a goalkeeper would drop the ball and boot it, right? You throw the ball, boot it. And as I did it, Sam's a nice kid. I got on with him. And I don't know why he did it. As I went to boot it, he tried to catch it. And it hit his fingers. And it broke like 4 of them. Like on both, like 2 on each hand. I think it was. Might be like 3 on one on the other. It pushed his fingers back. And I remember thinking, as I heard his fingers crack, I was like, I'm in fucking trouble now, aren't I? And I didn't even look at him. He tried to catch it. And the worst bit was the next day, right? I had to go back into school the next day just to get suspended. And I see him sitting there because they wanted me to apologize to him. And he's sitting there with his hands. It's like
the Homer Simpson meme.
It was so annoying. And my dad was always like looking at me. He's like, why do you always do these things? I didn't kick it at him. I went to boot it away, which was wrong. He jumped up and tried to stop it. That's not my fault. And my dad just said, well, it is your fault. You shouldn't have kicked it. My dad always did me like that. Like, he'd always be like, no, it's your responsibility.
Real quick, yeah. Actually,
that was all the shit I used to get. I didn't ever hurt anyone on purpose. It was just, go on.
Remember when the first phone in the box came out? Vodafone, yeah? The pay-as-you-go phone in the box, right? My mum and dad got me that for Christmas, right? And again, with Tundi, right? We're sitting at the shops, like back in the day, I used to smoke a bit of weed, yeah? right? And we had our campus, there was shops there. So we used to get the older lads to go in and get some Stellas, and we're skinning up. Yeah, my mum phones me up on my mobile phone. Yeah. Get your effing ass back in. I said, oh, I now know why you bought me a mobile, innit? Yeah, one more quick story. This is funny, yeah? Right? I knocked on this geezer's door for double glazing years later, 15 years later. He's a Man United fan. He was a PE teacher, Martin Lancaster. I don't care. I'll name and shame him, yeah? I don't even care, right? And he had a long curly perm, Kevin Keegan-esque perm. Right? He used to wear skin-tight Man United shorts. Massive, big lad, yeah? Like, right? So we were playing tennis, yeah, in PE once, right? The tennis courts. We have to go back and shower because we've got a science class coming up or English class or whatever, yeah? But there was these two other PE teachers. They were married, yeah? Mr. and Mrs., yeah? They were married. We bowl back into the showers, yeah? I swear. And Martin Lancaster is doing the mad thing on her, yeah? Mandy, right? Doing the mad thing on her. Yeah, right? The funniest thing is, right? It all kicks off, like they're all going at it. He finds out, Richard, I think his name was, they're all kicking off, right? 15 years later, I knock on the geezer's door for double glazing. Mate, he went like a tomato. I'm not going to say where he lives. Yeah, it's just outside him, right? But I knocked on his door, and mate, he went bright red like a tomato. Bro, he was pamming. Wow. He was
so many mad things happened at school. That Miss Carter I mentioned, who was one of the geography teachers, she must have been, when I was say 15, 16, she must have been in her 40s then. She married a kid who was only a year older than me. Once he left school and he turned 18, she married him. Legend. Mate, mate, there's a lot of stuff like that happens. Afternoon, Terry. My high school, one of the buildings got burnt down. 2 years later, got closed down, had no students below my year. Damn. A few people mentioned bombs.
Campus, was it? I prefer not to speak.
Yeah,
check out the science. Check out the science.
Back to school in 1966 is crazy. KJ's getting sacked, by the way, people. He's giving it the big one, but he's losing his job. He's disrespecting. I'm joking. Getting bullied for wearing a pair of Converse. Nah, the UK is different. I will say in the US, you were considered broke for wearing Fila. Do you know what it was? It was just like Converse now, no. But I'm talking back in, it was certain times where certain brands just weren't fashionable and weren't in vogue, really. And over here as well, we're still dumb here. We're still dumb. People still call Nike over here. It's not, it's Nike. I get my kids to call it Nike.
Nike Air Max, yeah, back then for about 40 quid. And if crazy. You had them, you were like the rich boy. Like you got Nike, you got bubbles in your trainers and that, like 40 quid.
Right, look at this one. My high school got shut down permanently because a fight escalated that led to a student getting stabbed right under the eye. Damn. There was a kid in my year. There was a kid in my year. Again, I'm not going to name him because it'd be wrong to. And he's one of these kids. Like, if he tells this story, nobody would believe him. But I'm going to tell it on his behalf. When he was in year 11, he got suspended halfway through. Never was allowed back. And he did have problems, but he did something which, still to this day, I'm like, why? He was doing Charlie at the time. Like, he was 16, and he was at weekends. He'd do a bit of coke. Right? Mad. Right? Kid. Put a line out on class and did it in front of the whole class and teacher. He did a line. And he got suspended. And as he walked out of the school gates, he was arrested. And it was like, why would you do that? It was a mental stuff. Super chat away from school.
Very quickly, there was a lad, I'm not going to name him, yeah? Right? But he got suspended and expelled from every single school in Milton Keynes. Right? Yeah, every single school, right? Literally, day one, expelled, suspended, whatever.
There's a school near me. Sorry, go on.
Years later, he's now working in telesales, yeah, for a company that I'm working for, right? And he's earning like 15 grand a week, calling customers up for double glazing on the phone, mate. He is insane. Yeah, he is one of the greatest salesmen and he failed everything. He never did exams.
A lot of naughty kids, not all. Some naughty kids are naughty because of problems at home and everything else, but a lot of naughty kids aren't stupid, which is half the reason why they get a lot of chances.
I'm say his name. I'll say his first name, Danny. Yeah, he knows who he is. Yeah,
but do you know what's crazy?
Do you know what the bad thing is his father, his old man, is a multi-millionaire, right? So he don't need the money because his old man was like, and I met his old man in a pub one night. He was like, "Oh, you work with my son, didn't you?" Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, your son's elite, bro." Like honestly, 15 grand a week sitting at home. calling customers for double glazing.
That's crazy, bro.
Crazy.
Just to let Victor, yes, I passed all my GCSEs. I got a couple of A stars, a couple of A's. I did well in most of my lessons.
What'd you get A star?
I got A star in IT, A star in media studies, A star in religious education.
I got an A in English drama.
Nice.
I'm gutted I didn't get an A star. I only found one, and that was maths.
Yeah, I got A in maths. I got a B. Maximum I could get was a B plus in maths. Because I was so naughty that the setup, basically the grade, the level I was in terms of the class I was in, you could only get to a certain point, and I didn't hand 2 bits of GCSE coursework in because I didn't like the teacher because I'm an idiot. So the max I could get is that. The only subjects I did poor in was French. I got an E because I really didn't try, which was stupid. Now I look back as a grown up, and my best result, I got a C in English. As a dyslexic, I'm so proud of that. Like, to get a C in something where I could barely read was crazy. But
yes, I got an
E
in maths, and then I left school, and then I'm adding up 75s times 75 or 75 times 15, 90. Yeah, my maths is elite now. I wasn't a nerd. This was the problem. I got in most of my trouble because I didn't try hard enough. And me and my big brother, we only got into a row once because my brother worked his bollocks off to pass his GCSEs, and he used to get annoyed at me because he was like, "You don't even fucking study or revise, and you pass tests. How you doing it?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just the information just remains." Like, last 2 years,
I was very fortunate like that. I was very fortunate. But what helped me is in my last year and a half, because of what I was doing with the martial arts, that's when I kind of calmed down a lot and started being less naughty and studied more because I had to get certain grades to be able to compete. So we were one of the only sports kind of clubs in the country where they had like a student athlete program where a coach said, if you don't do this at school, I'm not letting you compete. What was mad is when we expanded the karate school, when I was still teaching kickboxing karate, we tried to introduce this, and most parents said, no, this is separate. The kids shouldn't be punished here for what they don't do at school. And I remember saying this to kids. I was 18, saying it to parents, and hang on, deep this. We're trying to make your kid do their homework and be good at school through wanting to be able to train and compete here. And you're saying no to it. Like, what kind of parent are you? That didn't go down well with a few of the dads. It was a good thing I was a British kickboxing champion. I didn't say too much, but there we go. Anyway, this super chat here says, Terry, who wins, Adesanya or Duplessis?
Duplessis.
Listen, looking at the last outing of Adesanya, something looked kind of off. I think Adesanya is getting to a point where his body is struggling to make that weight. I think he's getting older. His natural weight is probably the next category up, which also, by the way, sets up fight number 5 between him and Pereira. If Pereira wins the world title coming up soon, I think right now Duplessis beats him, and not because Duplessis is better than him. I just think Adesanya physically is finished at the weight class he's in. He looks a little bit drained. He looks a little bit tired. I think he needs to go to the next weight category up. I think he'd feel amazing at that weight category now. But yeah, right now my money would marginally be on Duplessis. Although I'd want Israel to win. I like Israel Adesanya, but I'm also a stories man. I want him to go up to the next category because I want him to fight Alex Pereira again, because I know they said it's the end of the story, but it's still 3-1 to Pereira. So I need to see that fight at least one more time in the UFC, or it's 1-1 in the UFC. So that's what I'd like to see.
It'd be Kurtz.
For who?
For I can't pronounce the guy's name. Adesanya.
Adesanya. You think it'd be curtains for him against who?
Curtains.
Against
Pereira,
who?
Curtains.
At that weight?
Yeah, curtains. I'm not even like that. I don't even watch it like that, yeah? Like, Ola's into all of this, and like he's doing bits, yeah? But, yeah, I'm a casual. Yeah, but it's curtains, mate. Honestly, curtains. Curtains.
Oh, yeah. Mate, it could be. I mean, he looked really weight drained in the fight that Adesanya beat him in. Really weight drained. And the natural weight of Pereira is huge. But Adesanya, he's got great power. He's got good speed. Yeah, man, I want to see it. Listen, viewers, I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in today. Please make sure you, Terry, did you do points fighting in kickboxing? So, yes, points fighting as a kid. And I never actually had a full contact kickboxing fight, but I had 3 or 4 Thai boxing fights.
Andrew or Tristan?
No, I didn't fight Andrew or Tristan. I wouldn't have beaten Andrew. I'd have beaten Tristan, though, in my pomp. I'm only messing. Listen, people, would you do a UFC fight? Not with a professional UFC fighter, because they would kill me. I'm also
Terry's an old man. Leave him alone. Yeah,
I'm also like, I'm nearly 38 years old. I haven't trained for that kind of industry for over 10 years.
You're a
I
lover,
physically
innit?
couldn't do
You're
it.
a lover,
Would
not
I
a
get?
fighter.
Would I get back in the cage for the right money for someone with similar experience and age to me, who's also been out the ring as long as me? Yes, but I wouldn't get in the ring with the 28-year-old who's a very good fighter now, is already fit, because they would destroy me.
Go. Breaking news: Terry against KSI.
Do you know what it is? Boxing, I wouldn't fight KSI in boxing now. Those guys are trained enough to be proficient enough in boxing to kill a man my age. Would I fight him in MMA with 6 months of getting fit? Yeah, I would, because I don't think he's got any. I mean, he actually trained with a lot of my old team as well, actually. But yeah, probably would MMA, because I don't think he's
Terry versus KSI. Trot out celebration.
But I don't think what I mean is,
Hey,
I don't
Terry's calling it
I don't
on
think he's done,
KSI.
again, unless I'm
Reveal
wrong, I
yourself.
don't think he's done any jiu-jitsu. I don't think he's done any stand-up karate fighting, kickboxing, Thai boxing, anything. So yeah, probably.
Wow, Terry versus KSI. I'd actually come and watch that. I can't
Yeah, again, for the right money, you got to pay me a couple of £1 million. I'm not doing it for 50 grand. Pricing myself out the fight. Listen, people, do me a big favor. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Terry versus Kamzat. Listen, Shemaev, I'd go nowhere near that animal, bruv. He'd snap me. Like, I'm not an idiot. Like, I wouldn't. There's not a UFC fighter in the world that I would get in the ring and fight, because they would kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Simple as that. Kill me. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see. By the way, we already spoke about Liverpool, Jay. That already happened. You missed it. Go back and watch it.
Places in.
Cheers. Take care. Goodbye.